going on, everyone? It's Nina Infinity. Welcome to my channel on this Wednesday. This is Infinite Talk, and I have with me, as always, my co-host, the one and only John Talks. Hello, John. Hi.
What is up? How's it going?
Hi.
Good to see you guys.
It's going. Good to see you.
Hey,
It's
Steph,
so
glad.
much to talk about.
Yeah. Glad you could make it.
Yeah. Speaking of which, hi, Steph is here. Hi.
Oh, hello. I won't be here the whole time.
That's okay.
Because I have another stream to get to in about 45 minutes, but I will be here for as long as I can.
Yay! I'm so glad. And of course, we have a Script Doctor in the house. Hello, Script Doctor.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm happy to be here. I'm
He waved.
back again. Some people might think I'm lost. No, I was invited.
No, he's here. He was invited for sure. We have a super chat here from Chris Cran for $2. Says, "Oh my God, it's Nina and John with a side of Steph." Oh yes.
What's up, Chris? Good to see you, man.
Hi.
Also
Cheers.
a side of Script.
Side of Steph. So it's always nice.
Yes, cheers to you. Thank you, Chris. OG fan. Thank you.
Good to see you.
We have so much to talk about. I almost feel like we should start with Blake Lively because Steph is here for only 40 minutes.
It makes sense.
So let's start with that. Even though I really want her to tell me about Cynthia Erivo being Jesus. But we'll get to there.
I'll give you my small opinion.
Okay, tell me your small opinion on Cynthia Erivo.
My little opinion. The show Jesus Christ Superstar has always been a little bit controversial on its own. So, and I've seen it, and I actually like the show for what it is. It's a Broadway show, and I love Broadway shows. And it has some really good songs in it. But that show has already been pretty controversial. I think that they're just kind of turning it up even more with this casting. And it's kind of par for the course, sort of, because we're coming off of an Olympics that had the Last Supper with that big lady. You know what I mean? So I think that a lot of people are already reeling kind of still from always from Christians always getting shit on, and then now you have this. I think from what I read, it was an all-girl cast of Jesus Christ Superstars. That's what they're going to do.
I think so, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. But for me, it doesn't matter. It seems like they're almost doing it on purpose, right? They're like, well, let's pick a controversial show, but let's make it even more controversial, because the more controversial it is, the more people are going to talk about it, and it'll get more eyes on it, as opposed to just letting the show stand on its own. And I think that it would stand on its own. There's a bunch of male performers that can really do justice. I can think of 3 off the top of my head that can do justice to that show. You don't need to make it even more controversial by hiring Cynthia Erivo, but I understand what they're doing. I don't agree with what they're doing. I think that by hiring Cynthia Erivo, who's already kind of hot right now because of Wicked, she's coming off of Wicked, and doing an all-female version of it. Plus, Cynthia Erivo is Black and gay, so let's make her Jesus.
Really piling it on there.
Yeah, they're really piling it on.
Only thing that's
not
missing.
just one thing. It's not just we're gonna make Jesus black, which would be controversial in itself. But I think I don't think that would be that big of a deal in this day and age. But then you change the sex, and then it just happens to be her who is, she's a lesbian as well. And, we just got a good stir fry of controversy.
The only thing that's missing, John, is the handicap. Other than that, I mean, they've basically checked every box there is.
Yeah.
Well, the question being is that because I don't recall there being a love interest in Jesus Christ Superstar, but there might be. It's been a long time since I've seen that play. The question being is are they going to lean into the fact that, Mary is going to be a woman fawning after Jesus? Because listen, I have no problem with an all-female cast as a gimmick to interpret the show, because usually when they do an all-female cast, they're still sticking word for word for the script, which means the pronouns are the same, the contexts are the same. It's just we've got all these women, stretching their wings, playing these types of roles. that's fine. But it's obviously a gimmick. I have seen a fantastic play of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest where the gender roles were flipped, but they did not change any of the dialogue at all. And it was phenomenal because you got to see, good actors having fun with these roles, doing interesting things.
So there is a like a sort of a implied love story between Jesus and Mary Magdalene and Jesus Christ Superstar. So it'll be interesting to see if they gender swap Mary Magdalene, or are they going to keep her as a woman and have a like sort of lesbian relationship. I don't know how much of this show they're going to do at the Hollywood Bowl.
This article kind of gets into it a little bit. It says Cynthia Erivo has been cast as Jesus in the Hollywood Bowl upcoming production of Jesus Christ Superstar, set to run from August 1st to the 3rd. The Emmy, Grammy, Tony winner, who is currently nominated for an Oscar for her role in Wicked, will take the lead in Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice's classical musical. Erivo, 38, shared her excitement about the role on Instagram, writing, "Just a little busy this summer. Can't wait." That sounds like such a trolly thing to say, just generally speaking. The London-born star will make history as the first woman to lead a high-profile production of the rock opera, which tells the story of Jesus's final days. Erivo is stronger to musical, having previously starred as Mary Magdalene in all-female concept album version titled Jesus Christ Superstar, She Is Risen in 2020. So this is what I think you were talking about, Stephanie, which she played Mary Magdalene in. In that production, she performed the iconic number, "I Don't Know How to Love Him." Morgan James took on the role of Jesus in 2020 album version. Now, this is a woman, so we've already had a woman be Jesus, but she's white. She's not black. The production will be directed and choreographed by Tony Award winner Sergio Trujillo. Stephen Oramus, and also a Tony winner, will serve as a musical director and conductor. The show is being produced in association with Neil Maron and Robert Greenblatt. Bernie Telsey's and Telsey's office handled the casting for the production. Additional cast members will be announced at a later date. Jesus Christ Superstar was initially released as a concept album before making its Broadway debut in 1971. It's a pretty old play.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Do they have a movie of this? I don't think I've watched.
Yes, they have. They've had a movie with that, along with Godspell and a couple other Jesus's Last Days plays.
Let me ask you this: Is this play? Have you guys ever watched the movie Hamlet 2?
Yes.
No.
Okay, Script Doctor. Is Hamlet 2 kind of making fun of this? Is that what it is?
It's in the same realm with regards to the pretentious nature of theater, but Hamlet 2 is basically an ego-driven thing where someone is writing an original script as a sequel to Hamlet, and it's incorporating like Jesus and time travel and all those stupid things. This here, this is a limited run show. I doubt it'll ever make it on Broadway because it's a Hollywood Bowl. It's a Hollywood Bowl gimmick. It's basically saying, let's have fun with this play in regards to the casting. We have yet to see if there's an underlining agenda driven through it, as opposed to the gimmick of, oh, it's an all-women cast of this particular play. Because again, like, do we really want to be the people compared to the SJWs because someone is taking an artistic presence and maybe will be running with it normally as opposed to running it with an agenda? Or do you want to wait and see when the shoe drops so that we can call it out for what it actually is? Because again, does anyone think that Cynthia Erivo is a bad singer? Because I don't.
No.
And
that's the one thing she's not, as a bad singer. Everything
Well,
else.
this is like let's put this into context. So let's say they did a play about like JFK or Napoleon or I guess just any male figure, or even swap it the other way. I mean, I don't know. Like, it's all about, like, for me, Hollywood is going to Holly weird. Like, I don't really care.
Well, this is Broadway or theater, which is even weirder. And the fact of the matter is that any of those plays that you've had, there has 100% been a gender flipped version of it prior to the whole social 21st century gimmicks going around.
Yeah.
they've always done it. It's part and parcel with theater itself, whether it's off Broadway, on Broadway, West End, whether it's the entertainment district of Toronto on King Street, whether it's the entertainment area in Vancouver, Pasadena, New York. They've always had those eccentric quote unquote artistic directors or playwrights that have said, I'm going to do this, and raises eyebrows, gets people's attention. And then in some cases it blows people's socks off because it's not about the gimmick. It was about the performance. And in other times people actually like hate it and despise it because it is as transparent and vacuous as you initially suspected to, but that's Broadway.
I feel like that's kind of what happened with the Romeo and Juliet from this past summer that like
With Tom Holland, yeah.
was in. Yeah. Because I mean, we didn't really hear anything about that after like it aired. Like there wasn't anything like
that's I don't know. I
Oh, she
think
was
that's
amazing.
totally fine though, because you know, it's Romeo and Juliet. Yeah, she might be played by a Black woman, but she's still being played by a woman. So
correct.
like
Yeah.
things like that I don't really mind, because you know, in Broadway they've always like just given the part to whoever can perform the best. Like that's always been
Well, perform the best or has gotten in with the director usually.
yeah. No, that's true.
Lot of
So
nepotism
at least
going
like
on.
my experiences with like with theater and stuff. So but also like with this though, I feel like we live in a day and age where this news stories like these, like they spread far and wide. But not only
Mhm.
that, there's also like the whole rewriting history, right? Because we now have like a Netflix show that depicts a Black Cleopatra, another one that depicts isn't it like a Black Marie Antoinette or something like that? Like
Yeah.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
yeah.
We're gonna get a Black Braveheart. A Black
So-
I only think the Netflix one was trying to act as a definitive
Black
historical
Trump
authentic
50
one.
years from now. Black Trump.
Yeah.
They're
No,
doing
I mean,
well, Netflix is doing a Little House on the Prairie. The
yeah, they're
memes
gonna
have
do a
been
Little House.
oh,
on the
that's
Prairie.
right. Yeah, they're doing that.
Who
So
knows? if
I
they
don't
do
know. I
that.
think stuff like this, I feel like it's done to push people's buttons, especially right now. That it's done to push people's buttons almost on purpose.
Yeah.
Well, that's art.
Mhm.
Art is
I
designed
agree.
to push buttons to elicit a response.
Outrage
Yes,
bait, though.
absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's working. it
Yeah.
really is working. The show
I
is
agree.
fine. Like I said, I can think of like, you know, 3 guys like off the top of my head that I would rather see portraying that role than Cynthia Erivo.
I think what's funny about this is that there was another woman that was white as Cat that was before her. This other woman. What was her name again? It said it up here
Yeah, but if you
somewhere.
want Jesus to be
Morgan
singing,
Ja-
you want
yeah,
them to have the
Morgan
voice of
James.
an
Morgan
angel.
James. What
I
was
mean-
that script?
Well, if you want, you know, Jesus to have the voice of an angel, I mean, your best bet is with a woman, really. Like there
That's
are not
true.
many men that do have angelic voices. However, that joke aside, one thing you also have to remember is like, unlike Netflix with that Cleopatra show, they were trying to advertise that was the definitive version of Cleopatra. The Marie Antoinette show, that was done for artistic purposes. And a
That's
little bit of
true.
social justice stuff. This show here, it's not saying this is going to be the definitive Jesus Christ Superstar show and rewriting history. It's them just saying, we're going to do an all-woman cast because this is the best gimmick we can come up with to get eyes on this production.
Exactly, and that's what I'm trying to say. Like
Mhm.
it's so gimmicky, but at the same time, I feel like because they're trying to get a rise out of people and get eyes on the show, I don't know. I don't respect that. Like they're like, how can we get more eyes on the show? Well, let's be as disrespectful as we possibly can in the making of this production.
And I guess that's what I'm kind of wondering about. Was there like was people calling it blasphemous? Because this is like, you know, in this article saying the casting announcement sparked divided reaction on social media. The several branding the decision as blasphemous and disrespectful, while supporters have lauded the news. And I'm wondering, was it still blasphemous when it was a white lady being cast as this as Jesus?
Well, the
Yeah,
show
of
itself
course
was
it would
considered
be.
blasphemous when it came out.
Yeah, the show, like the
Oh,
play
yeah.
itself is not necessarily like a biblical, directly biblical adaptation
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
No,
not.
no.
They
No,
made Judas into a sympathetic character,
Yeah,
right? So like
isn't Judas supposed to be like a fun guy in this? Like this, I don't know. This is terrible.
yeah, so the show itself is not it's not like it's a correct interpretation of Jesus's last days. Like that's and it was already considered blasphemous, but like over time it found its audience and people grew to like the show
Mm.
for its songs and for what it was. But right now, I think that everybody is on such high alert, and very much aware
Yeah.
of all this stuff, especially since like we have the news at the tip of our fingertips. We can just look things up and we have all of this information. Um, I don't know if it was that way because I don't know when this other girl Morgan played the character, but like,
In 2020, it said, I think.
yeah. So like I think that just people are
2020
really
album.
paying attention to things now, and I think that like news outlets and things like that will pick this up and be like, oh my gosh, we're gonna get a lot of clicks, let's just announce this everywhere.
Yeah.
And and it's I mean they've done what they wanted to do, they've gotten eyes on it,
Free.
they've gotten
Yeah.
attention on it.
Free advertising.
Yeah.
The outrage bait is real. I think people are like, oh my God, what? But what's funny too is I think a lot of people are like, what? They're making a movie of this with Cynthia Erivo as Jesus? And then they're like, oh, it's just a play. I don't care then. Like, it's just one of those things because most people don't really go to Broadway anyway. So they're like, why do I care about this? I don't really care about this. I don't know. That's just like me, for example. Like I don't really go to plays. I mean, I would love to, but I don't. I don't have access to Broadway, so I watch the movie versions usually. That's why I like Wicked because I'd never seen the Wicked Broadway, but I like the movie.
Look for the Broadway touring cast, maybe they'll come to you.
Oh, come to Cancun and hang out here. I don't even.
That's
think
how
we
I watch
have
Broadway shows with their touring cast.
Oh, that's cool. I should
Yeah.
look that up. Okay, we need to talk about Blake Lively before you have to leave, Stephanie. So, John probably has no idea what's going on, although you have some idea because the last time we spoke, John, it was when the tape dropped and we watched the tape together.
Mhm.
So since then, Justin Baldoni and his team released a whole website with like texts and stuff like that to refute all the claims that Blake Lively had. After that, the night before her amended complaint was due, Ryan and Blake went to the SNL 50th anniversary, which, by the way, did you watch any of that?
I saw clips here and there on Twitter or X. That's about it.
Okay. So there they found or Ryan did like this weird skit where here I have it actually I have it pulled up. Here it is. Now some people were like debating whether this was scripted or not. We have answers to all of that. Here we go.
Oh, hey, Ryan Reynolds. Hey, hey. Ryan Reynolds, how's it going?
Great. Why? What have you heard?
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that. Yeah.
Okay, now this thing glitched, but the important part of this is two things. I mean, obviously the question, but also Blake's face because she was like, "Wait, what?" Because she's like, "Oh, that's great, that's great," and then she gets like really like upset for a second, and then she's like, "What? What did you do?" Like she goes from like, look at you could see like, the concern.
That does look
Like-
like legit.
Wait, what? Oh no.
Yeah.
Also, if you pay attention to Kevin Costner here, which is me, I feel like Kevin Costner is me.
What's Kevin Costner looking at? What's he doing?
He's looking at Blake Lively.
He's looking at Blake Lively. So if we rewind it a
The
little bit,
stain.
he's looking like up in the air, like he's like. But I mean, if you pay attention, nobody is looking at them because everybody's kind of like, oh, these two, except for her, which is kind of like, this is interesting. But then immediately Kevin Costner's reaction goes to like, oh, what is she doing? What is she doing? I want to see what she's doing. I want to see her reaction to whatever he's saying, which is kind of hilarious. I feel like this is all of us. So that was the joke, though. He kind of made light of what this whole lawsuit has been about or whatever. And then the next day, we got this little clip here, which is from one of the, I believe it's one of the writers. It's an SNL staffer. So SNL staffer went on some radio show, and this is what they had to say about this.
It was a big show. Now,
Oops.
it was a big show. Now, Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively have been in the news a lot, and Ryan Reynolds, we want to know, was that an improv or was it scripted? His little piece he did.
That was actually he had a different line in rehearsal, and he pitched that to replace it. So that was his idea to do it. We wouldn't want to do anything too controversial unless they were in on it. So yeah, that was his line. That was his idea to do.
It was a big show. Now, Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively.
So it goes to show that, like, you know, he went back there. They already had a script for him, and then he decided to what Ryan Reynolds does: change the script and pitch this joke, which is what I find incredibly just inappropriate, considering that his wife has filed a very large complaint and lawsuit about this guy sexually harassing her. And then it's like, oh, here's my husband making a joke about this whole thing while he's changing the script, which is the entire thing, what the entire thing is about. But what do you guys think of this? John, do you have any thoughts on this?
Well, I heard Martha Stewart said that she's met Ryan Reynolds in real life, and he's not really that funny in real life. Like,
Yeah.
he's apparently a very serious person, or maybe just a complete a-hole. I don't know what she meant by that, but yeah,
I'm trying to pull that up.
it's an act. Like, I do think he is talented. You know, he's got a great sense of humor and he is funny, but apparently that's not who he really is. So
No. Stephanie, what did you think of that?
I feel like he ended up changing the joke in order to take control of the situation. Scarlett Johansson's husband is a writer on SNL. He does the news show on SNL? I can't remember
Weekend
what it's called.
Update.
The Weekend Update. Yeah. And I think that before the 50th anniversary episode, I saw or listened to a video of somebody's, I don't even remember whose, because I've just been having my YouTube on autoplay, where they said that, like, while he was doing the Weekend Update, he made an intimacy coordinator joke. And it's possible that they knew about that joke. And so to get ahead of possibly, you know, them making another type of joke, Ryan Reynolds made this joke. So that way he's in control of it as opposed to the writers or whatever. So that's what I think. I think he just did that to sort of like get ahead and also save face in an audience of his peers, because they probably, I don't know if they know what is going on between them, but they probably do. And so I feel like he needed to save face in front of his peers. And so what better way to do that than to make light of the situation, make a little jokey joke at the expense of his wife, which is weird, but whatever.
She didn't know. That's the crazy part, is like he didn't tell her. Like, I changed the joke, by the way. Just be prepared. Script Doctor, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I've worked for NBC. I've actually worked in 30 Rock as well, and not as a page, but as a writer. I know for a fact that Saturday Night Live does not let their cast change jokes without their permission. So whatever, we don't know what the original joke was. All we know is that they felt Ryan Reynolds was better than what they had, because that's what they put on air. And that's how it usually works with Lorne Michaels, with the showrunner, even with Colin Yost, who is a hack, who, you know, listen, he's married to Scarlett Johansson. Scarlett Johansson is notorious for cheating on every husband she's ever had and is currently doing that right now. I cannot divulge with who.
No, what?
It's not that shocking.
Script Doctor comes with the tea.
Damn.
We need to.
Scarlett and I are almost the same age, and we both. And she's been in the industry a little longer than I have, and we've never met in first, but we've crossed circles quite often. Like, I remember when she was married to Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, I remember that too. You know, I kind of
I
made a
want, you know what?
mistake,
I want to be
though.
like on the phone with Script Doctor, just gossiping about Hollywood.
This is
like,
why Script Doctor is supposed to be coming on Toxic Femme more often, but then he decided to get another job. God,
Well, I got an
l-
offer I couldn't refuse. So
I,
you go.
I know, but it's like I
Respect.
found out that there was another cheat before because I made a mistake in my video because I said that he cheated on Alanis Morissette with ScarJo, but apparently he cheated on Alanis with Jessica Biel, and
Yes.
then he cheated on her with Scarlett Johansson. But
yeah, and then
I
Scarlett
totally
Johansson cheated on
spaced.
Ryan with another guy.
Some other, yeah. Wasn't it Channing Tatum? Not Channing Tatum.
No, it
The
wasn't
other
Channing
guy.
Tatum. It was some other guy. I can't remember who.
Some
She
other
she has
dude. Josh
she is like
Hartnett?
the Elizabeth Taylor of the modern era when it comes to men. Scarlett
That's
Johansson.
interesting.
I
yeah.
mean, she's been married, I think, 3 times so far, and I wouldn't be surprised before the end of this decade she'd be married 4th.
How many husbands did Liz Taylor have?
Almost 8.
Almost. So
Yeah,
not-
but also
She married Richard Burton twice, I think, right?
Yeah, Richard Burton twice. But the thing is, she'd been getting married up until her last decade of life. So like, and she lived to a nice ripe old
Aw.
age. So
Never gave up.
She
on
didn't
yeah,
give up
true
on love. Yeah.
Well, I
I
mean,
feel like
I think it was her first husband who passed away, and that's kind of led the spiral out because she was then sleeping with Carrie Fisher's father after her first husband passed away.
oh. Wow.
Yeah, and then
Good
and so
idea.
Debbie Reynolds got really upset about that, and that's broke their family. And then Debbie married a guy that would keep her and her family financially well, living out in California. But with regards to like Saturday Night Live, so you have Lorne Michaels and you have a showrunner, which is partially Colin Yost and another writer, and basically Ryan pitched the joke and they said that's funnier, so we're going to go with that. That's how it works. So if it wasn't funnier,
Do you think it was actually funnier though, or do you think they're not going to say no to Ryan Reynolds?
I think it was actually funnier because if you watch Saturday Night Live over the last 10 years, it's not been a funny show. It's a good show.
That's true. I mean,
And that's since Colin Yost came on as a writer.
That's true.
Because before him was Seth Meyers and it was okay funny, but not great. And then before him it was Tina Fey, which it was kind of in a sweet spot because it was just right after the Will Ferrell years. And
yeah,
and
Tina Fey was still good. I mean, they were
Yeah.
still good.
So like there's been that every generational steep decline going on. I generally think it was a funnier joke. One of the aspects too, which I mean, it's definitely for it to save face, but it's also part of Ryan Reynolds' brand, which is that he makes light of everything, regardless of how controversial it is.
Right, including putting
And
the guy in his Deadpool movie as Nice Spool.
And
I mean, I
also
don't
being
know
the guy that plays him. So he's also he's the face of the butt of that joke, right?
right.
The other part too is when you take a look at that sketch, Ryan Reynolds has this sheer look of panic on his face, deliberately so to play up the joke.
Right.
Because he says, why? What have you heard? And he's got this panic expression. He's playing into it. And it's also the context of that type of joke of why, what have you heard in the gossip sphere of sketch is, oh, we're talking about the media coverage over the controversy. We're not actually making fun of the controversy, because when you take a look at what the trades are saying and all the quotes from the lawyers and stuff, and it's just being blown out of proportion, maybe deliberately so by Blake Lively's people and maybe deliberately so by the guy whose name doesn't matter people. That's the comedy.
You're so mean. His name is Justin Baldoni. My God.
I'm sorry. I was going to say
you're like Ari Emanuel. You're worse than Ari Emanuel. He called him Justin
Baloney. Didn't he?
Justin Baloney. Well, I mean, have you listened to his male feminist podcast? He is a Justin Baloney. So
I have, yeah. I think one of the comments that I got on my video was, I can't believe that Ryan Reynolds is making me support. Oh no, he said, I'm angry at Ryan Reynolds for making me support a male feminist.
I know.
And I'm just like, that's how I feel, because I can't stand like all of his TED Talks, all of his podcasts. Like I'll listen to clips from them and I'm just rolling my eyes like, oh my God, is this guy for real? But at the same time,
I feel
I'm
like
just
he's
like,
genuine though. I feel like
it sucks for him.
I feel like he's a genuine male feminist. If there's ever one, it's him. Like he actually
that's
believes
his problem here. He would have never got stepped all over if he was, if he
he
was
had a backbone.
a man, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He stood up for himself. It's true.
Well, I mean, remember, this is a guy who took a book about domestic assault and decided, hey, this would be a great story for me to be the lead bad guy in. Like, that's such a male feminist.
Hey,
rip-
hey, hey,
He
hang
didn't.
on.
Okay, so
He didn't do that.
He didn't want to take the role.
Correct.
didn't?
No,
No,
he
it
didn't
was
want to
I
take
saw
Colleen
the
that
role.
tweet where
Hoover.
he wanted
Yeah,
to, he said that part, but that was something else.
No, he
Colleen
didn't want to
Hoover
take the
wanted
role
it.
initially.
Here.
He just wanted to direct.
Yeah,
Colleen Hoover convinced him to take the role. He wasn't
That's
supposed
right.
to take the role. He did. He just wanted to direct this movie, so that way it was, like he read the book and he's like, I think that this is a great book for women, who
Mhm.
are in a certain situation. Maybe this movie will give them hope. In interviews, him and Colleen Hoover, they've said that like he didn't want to take the role. He wasn't supposed to play the abuser. But
Mhm.
Colleen Hoover convinced him to. She said that like with all of their conversations and their, her getting to know him, she really, really wanted him to
Justin-
play that role.
You look like the guy who would just
Yeah, it's so
slap
weird, isn't
slap
it?
a bitch.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm going to throw some other interesting actor concepts too. So a lot of actors that get into directing secretly get into directing so they can direct themselves. So they will say, for
Including
fake
Blake Lively.
yes.
Sorry.
So they'll say for fake humility, I just want to direct. I don't want to be in the movie. Well,
Mhm.
secretly they want to be in the movie, and they're looking for someone to convince them otherwise. Because I'll put it to you this way: if a director didn't want to be in the movie, the director doesn't have to be in the movie. And I
I
know
mean,
a lot
that's
of,
true.
I know
They
a
are
lot
the
of
that's-
directors.
They are the directors.
There are exactly. I know a lot of directors
Yeah.
that went from acting that said, "I am not being in this movie," and regardless of how much studio pressure put in, they did not end up in the movie because they said, "I don't want to be in this movie. I want to direct this movie." When you see someone that's like Ben Affleck, when he got to direct Argo, he basically said, "I don't need to be the main character." And then someone said, "But you're Ben Affleck. You got to be the main character." Okay, fine, I'll be the main character.
I'll do it.
And
I'll do
exactly,
it.
and that is
Yeah,
done in the
I'll
studio
fall on this
system.
sword.
It's done in the indie system. It's faux humility to try and say that I don't want to be part of that self nepotism group where I'm casting myself as the lead because I really want to play this role, but I also want to have control over how the performance is going to go around me. It's total, like, you see it way more in the indie sphere than you do in the studio stuff, but it's total indie sphere stuff. I've seen it 100,000 times.
And then
where
there's
an actor comes to
but
you,
yeah,
like,
but
"I
there's
got
this
book. I'm
guy
gonna
who
write
just
the script. I'm going to direct
with
it."
everything that he's been going through with all of these, with Blake Lively, I feel like he's, given her whatever she wants because of the type of man that he is.
Yeah.
If this woman, Colleen Hoover, who he developed a relationship with, is like, I want you to be in the movie, be one of the characters, he's gonna say yes. I feel like he doesn't say no to women ever.
Right.
It doesn't matter what the situation is.
It's number one.
This
prop
is
right there.
true. I
Right.
think that's exactly what happened. And then not only that, when she wanted the script changes, she was like, I have another really powerful female here, Taylor Swift, who's the biggest pop star on earth. You're not going to say no to us. And my husband, Ryan Reynolds, who's like amazing, and Deadpool. So fuck you. Like, you're not going to say no.
He was
And he
also
didn't.
in Just Friends, which
So after this SNL thing, they filed the amended what's it called, lawsuit.
That
Yeah.
title ends with us. Like, it just feels so
very apt.
decisive. Yeah.
so prevalent right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is funny on a lot of levels. It ends with us. Blake Lively claims 2 other actresses are prepared to testify against Justin Baldoni. The new allegations were part of the amended complaint filed on Tuesday by Lively, including that Baldoni's Wayfair partner and billionaire Steve Sarowitz allegedly told a witness he will protect the studio like Israel protected itself from Hamas.
That was stupid.
That's very
That's-
dramatic.
It's
Yeah,
very
little
that's dumb
overly-
and dramatic.
Yeah.
just
Got a flair for the
Um,
dramatic there.
I'm not gonna go into like this entire article because I actually read the amended complaints. It was very boring, and it felt like it was written by a paralegal. A lot of word salad. I was like, my God, this is awful. But this was probably the funniest part, though, was that they have a lot of claims, including these 2 actresses that they're claiming that were felt uncomfortable on the set by Justin Baldoni. And that's what the kind of like the language they use. They don't even say like sexually harassed. They say was made uncomfortable on the set. Which could mean anything really. But they don't name names. They say that they were complaints filed, but there's no receipts about where they filed these complaints. Certainly not to Sony, because there's nothing of any of the complaints from Sony. No screenshots, no nothing, no emails, nothing. I think the only other interesting part of the lawsuit, the amended lawsuit, was Exhibit E, which was basically a letter that claimed that Wayfair Studios and the Balzoni team told or sent a letter to the Lively team claiming that they're going to begin some type of investigation into this sexual harassment that she received. And they declined this investigator to meet up with this investigator because they were like, oh, it's too late. You should have done this when we first filed the complaint 2 years ago. But now that you're doing it now, we're no longer interested because the only way through into this lawsuit and to getting justice is this lawsuit. Or we wouldn't have been here had you basically done this from the beginning. Which again, I find kind of really weird and odd that this wasn't done. So like, I don't know, point to the Lively team if that's true. I don't know if that is true. That can be verified that they never actually did any sort of investigative work into seeing if these claims were real. Steph, did you get to that part?
No, like I told, I'm so slow in reading this lawsuit because I'm just so tired. But I'm looking at it now though.
Did you see Exhibit E?
Yeah, I'm looking at it, but there's really nothing.
Yeah. Do you want to share your screen and we can read what it
If
says?
I'm looking at, I don't think I'm looking at the right Exhibit E.
It's the last one, whatever it is. I think it was E. It's a letter. And they're like, we deny your investigator. Because you should have done this before. That's basically their.
How long is this trial going to go on for?
Their date.
It's set for March of next year. That's the trial
2026.
date. But the judge has said that if it continues to go the way it has been going in the media, then he'll push the date up.
Yeah, which I
to
just
try
don't
to spare everybody of the just ongoing onslaught of.
Well, if it
news.
it's supposed he'll pull it up to like support to support like both parties and like for it to like not taint the jury pool. That's what Blake's team is worried about. Is that how what's his name? Justin Baldoni's attorney, I can't remember his name right now.
Brian Friedman.
Yeah. How he's been like going on all of these different podcasts and he's been doing a lot of interviews. They're worried that like all of this stuff is going to taint the jury pool. So the judge said that, you know, if he has to go on podcasts and he can defend his client, but it has to be like within the scope of what is in the lawsuit, which is pretty much what he's been doing. And the judge pretty much said that like they went to court last week, I think. And Blake Lively's lawyer had all of these complaints against Brian Freeman, but the judge was like, everything that you're complaining about that he has said in the media is everything that is in their lawsuit. So, I mean, technically he can say all of those things. But they said that like if it continues on like that, then they'll push the trial date up. So that way there's no like tainted jury pool or whatever.
But also, first of all, it's already too late. Everybody hates them now. Like so many people just dislike Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. And the other thing is they were supposed to, well, at least there was a rumor that the Balzoni team was also going to drop more videos and audios, but then they didn't, because I think that this is why though, because the judge said like no more of this bullshit. So I think that's one of the reasons they didn't drop any of those. I think they're saving those for the trial now.
Right. But now that she has this new amended complaint, they're allowed to do that because it would be in defense of their,
they're like amending
so
their
they
amendment.
can now produce like new receipts or whatever in order to defend Justin Baldoni against these like new allegations.
Which is basically the only new allegations are these two people, which by the way, here's an update to that, because so Blake's team was like, we got these two bitches that are gonna like step up the plate. And then out of nowhere, this other person came out and was like, "Yeah, well, I worked on the set too, and I didn't see anything bad that Baldoni did, and I'm willing to come and testify, but I'm not telling you who I am yet." So this is please allow ads. Okay, let me allow ads before I share my screen here.
Gosh, of course, the Daily Mail is like, let us run all of our fucking ads. Oh, I
Yeah.
hate the Daily Mail so much.
So much. Oh my god! Like the stupid ads. How many times do I gotta say okay?
They're-
Block
they're-
the stupid ads.
Their titles are always like a paragraph.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
no brevity with their
No.
headlines.
It's like
Mm-mm.
their thing.
Oh my god.
It's like, you're supposed to be English majors. Cut it down.
I think they do it to stand out. I mean, it certainly works.
For the
Um,
love of God. Okay.
I have to get going, Nina. But
Okay, go.
I will
I
say
love
that there
you.
were 3 HR complaint letters that weren't sent to Wayfair Studios. They were
Mhm.
submitted to Sony, and they were being shopped around, but nobody would pick them up. No news outlet would pick them up because so much information was redacted from those HR complaints. So nobody would pick
Including
up
the
those
dates.
HR complaints, and that's very curious.
Mhm.
Also, Sony did come out and make a statement, and they said, like, before they tried to shop these HR complaints around, Sony did come out and make a statement that said, there were no complaints made during the filming of It Ends With Us, and so instead they leaked them to like people so that people on TikTok and people on
Yeah.
Twitter could talk about them. That way they're just out there, but everything is blacked out. And that's very it's very interesting.
Yeah. Including the dates of like when they were filed.
dates
Which I
were
was like, why
blacked
would
out as
you
well,
why would
yeah.
you black out dates? Like it makes sense to black out names, but dates? That's a weird thing to black out.
Yeah,
Before
there were a
you
lot
go,
of things that were blacked
someone
out, but it's interesting that they tried to like shop those around to news outlets and that the news outlets rejected them because there was so much redacted. So it's kind of like, how do we even know that these are real? You know what I mean? So
Exactly.
that was very curious that came out. And people, I think, when was it? Like people were talking about that maybe last week before
Mhm.
this whole thing, before
Just
the
like
amended
3 days
complaint.
ago. Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
just 3 days ago that this was being talked about. Before you go, saw one sent an 18-month member message saying, "Hi all, and Nina and Steph, you are both looking beautiful as always. SNL stopped being funny since maybe around 2010, the tops."
That's
But
fair.
I don't know. I
think
never watched
earlier, but yeah.
SNL. So.
I just wanted you to know that someone thinks you're beautiful, which you are. So thank you for being here.
Thanks. Yeah, I
Aw.
wish I could stay longer because I love talking about this, but I have to go. I have to
Plug
play
your
Poker
wares.
Gamble.
Plug your channel and all the
yeah,
videos you're making.
YouTube, My Nerdy Home. I put out a video on I have to read this amended complaint, but until then, I put out 2 different videos. One about Brandon Sklenar and Colleen Hoover, and the other one about the SNL thing and all of the stuff leading up to it. So those are there if you want to check it out. There's a lot of Ryan Reynolds stands in my comments, which is really weird. But
It is kind of weird.
yeah, that is kind of like those were the very first comments that I got on my video were a bunch of people like defending Ryan Reynolds. It was kind of odd, but
The only thing I can defend Ryan for is that he's a hell of an advertiser.
he is. He's a very yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great advertiser.
Good
He's done
businessman.
very well in marketing,
Mhm.
and It Ends With Us is a perfect example of that.
Now, can he sell this trial?
I know, right? Yeah.
Had a
All
good
right,
feeling.
bye, guys.
See you, Steph.
Take care,
Bye, Steph.
Steph. So I put that article in the back. Can one of you guys pull it up? Because my ad blockers are apparently on like steroids, and they're like, no, we're
All
not
right,
gonna.
I think I got it here.
Oh, it's doing it to me too.
Me-
Jeez. Okay, hold on.
Give me a second.
So annoying. It's basically though, the story is that this other person, John got rid of himself.
Probably has to reboot his web browser.
He's like the Daily Mail just took him out. He's like, let me like stop the ads on my ad block. Oh shit. I just X'd out the whole thing. Oh, there he is. He's back. Did you just X out your whole
I did.
thing?
figure.
That's what I guess. I'm like,
Uh,
okay, there it is.
I think I can. Maybe I can do some reading here.
All right, there you go.
Exclusive. I was on the set of It Ends With Us. Justin Baldoni was always so sensitive in sex scenes with Blake Lively, and obviously lies have been spread about him. Justin Baldoni is the victim of obvious lies spread about him by Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and Inside. Man, there's like 10,000 ads around. Like I'm
So many.
getting distracted.
This is what's supporting the Daily Mail from me.
Here, I think that's better.
There we go. That's better. Yeah.
See any movement? It's just distracting. Yeah, Justin Baldoni is the victim of obvious lies spread about him by Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. An insider on the set of It Ends With Us claimed to Mail Online today. The Hollywood source, who worked closely with the warring pair while making the $350 million movie. What?
Is that the gross? Because it's definitely not the budget.
Yeah, there's no way.
No, I think that's how much it made.
Okay.
Yeah.
Claims to have had text messages that proved the director was caring, sensitive, and thoughtful towards his co-star, especially in romantic scenes. Came just after Ryan and Blake were accused of gaslighting. Came after Ryan and Blake were accused of gaslighting for joking about their bitter row with Justin during Sunday's SNL 50th anniversary special. Mail Online source was involved in the making of It Ends With Us and is the first person who was on set to speak out after Miss Lively's claims that she was left suffering grief, fear, trauma, and extreme anxiety because of Mr. Baldoni's behavior. I got so angry hearing about those obvious lies that I felt compelled to speak my truth, the insider said.
I don't like that my truth phrase because that's not the truth.
It's very subjective. Blake Lively's
but it's very Hollywood speak though. It's like, that's my truth. That's what I saw. So it's my truth.
You just imagine some chick's hand going over her chest as she's saying my truth. Like you just like
Totally.
You're covering your heart to hide it from the lies.
That's my truth. Blake Lively's lawsuit accused him of improvised physical intimacy during a sex scene without prior discussion or choreography. It was also alleged that Baldoni discreetly biting and sucking on Miss Lively's lower lip. Whoop-de frickin' do. She also accused Baldoni of showering her explicit video. You think
showing.
I'm totally my mind's in the gutter here.
Wow.
See Blake Lively in the shower, huh?
Showing her
made it more X-rated.
I did. Showing her explicit videos. It never even got anywhere near that. All Justin Baldoni was like, he looked at her the wrong way and bit her lip during a kissing scene and sexual harassment. And photos of other women openly discussing his struggles with pornography and making inappropriate remarks about her, including about her weight.
Oh God.
I mean, that was it right there. If he
all
mentioned
came
her,
out.
you say one thing about a woman's weight, it's a wrap, man.
Yeah,
that was all about. The poor guy was just trying to see if he can like lift her, so he had asked like how much she weighs.
But did he do it like Michael Keaton did in Batman to Vicky Vale? Quick, how much do you weigh? Like,
well, apparently he asked other people because he was afraid to approach her. So he was like, he asked some other dude. And then she found out through a third party and she freaked out because she's like, why is this guy asking about my weight?
This is the whole origin story of this whole freaking trial. If he never asked her or said anything about her weight, we would not even be hearing this. But she felt scorned or insulted. And now it knows no end. It hasn't ended with them.
It's not going to end with them for a while. So I don't know.
But his ally, who does not want to be named in case it hurts their career, but is willing to give evidence for Justin in court, told Mail Online today that Mr. Baldoni is the real victim. He cared so deeply about that movie. It's absolutely ludicrous that anyone could ever say He was anything other than polite, respectful, caring, and professional during the process. I have text messages that show just how sensitive and thoughtful he was about it. They said.
We've already seen those text messages, by the way, because he's such like a feminist. He's such a little soy. He's a little soy.
This whole thing is such a waste of time. My gosh. Just wasting and consuming the minds of and the IQ of countless people out there.
Certainly me right here.
Yes.
Definitely.
The source believes that Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively will use their fortune to draw out the legal process to make it as expensive and brutal as possible for Mr. Baldoni. His friends, family, and coworkers know the truth, and at the end, the rest of the public will too, they added. Baldoni is accusing Lively and Reynolds of defamation and civil extortion in his $400 million lawsuit. It came as Ryan Reynolds' decision to poke fun at his wife Blake Lively's explosive scandal with Justin Baldoni caused ructions. Never even heard of that.
What the
Have you
hell is
guys heard of that?
ructions?
Ructions? I've never even
What-
heard of that word.
does that
Script,
mean?
have you ever heard of that? Ructions?
That's
I have to look it
not
up.
ringing a bell, but
A disturbance or quarrel.
yeah, because the concept
Ruction.
of that scandal would cause ruction. So yeah, that'd be cause drama,
Wow.
disturbance problem. So
I'd never heard that word before in my life.
I guess this writer really wants to establish that they have a $10 vocabulary.
Yeah. Well, at least this trial is expanding our vocabulary.
Yeah.
He has minimized her claims and could dissuade abuse victims from coming forward, experts have claimed. Lively 37 broke cover to attend Sunday night's SNL 50th, the anniversary special with her husband, marking her first major event since she filed a lawsuit against her.
Which also, by the way, doesn't make any sense. Like, why would they be there? Like, they're not SNL people. Is Ryan Reynolds an SNL person? Like,
He's hosted a few times. Yeah.
But
Yeah, I
he's
guess if
only
he hosted-
though, right?
Well,
like, he's
you
not.
got Kevin
yeah.
Costner there. You had Steven Spielberg. I mean, they're not like,
Well, the
hard
thing
to
is,
tell.
so
That's true.
SNL has become an institution. Only 20 seats at SNL are actually open to the public. Everything else is friends and family or industry insiders. If you were a director and your lead star was on SNL, that was considered part of your press junket for your film. So you've had Harrison Ford, you've had Christopher Reeve, you've had Robin Williams. If any of those guys were anyone who directed them would definitely be on the short list to be invited to SNL, especially if you had a certain status in Hollywood, which be Spielberg is currently the king of Hollywood right now. Even though he doesn't make that much, he is still incredibly powerful because
Isn't
he is
that so
essentially.
weird? Like, when was the last Spielberg movie? I don't even remember the last movie.
I think it was West Side Story remake.
Oh, that's true. The one that bombed with Rachel Zegler.
True.
Oh, that's shitty, man. Like, how far is this
Wait,
guy
wasn't Rachel
fallen?
Zegler on the one in the Heights one, or was she in West Side Story? Because they both came out relatively close to each other. So I can't
No,
remember which.
I'm pretty sure she was in West Side Story because that was her whole claim to fame.
Right. Okay.
With
But-
like,
Yeah. So like everyone, so the reason if you were ever to watch a SNL show, especially these days, and wonder why the audience is laughing so much, it's because they're all friends and family of the cast and crew. Or
that
the
makes
network.
sense. Yeah, that makes way more sense than having an audience that actually loves your stuff.
Well, it was only in the first few years where they had a full public audience because, the first show, it was a half and half because it was mostly friends, family of the crew because they wanted to pack the audience so that people would see on television the enjoyment the crowd is getting so that they'd want to go to the show. Then after a couple of years, there was so much demand for tickets that it was too difficult to manage. So they just decided to exclude all but 20 seats that they would then reserve way out in advance to get. And then sometimes they're like rush tickets, which means you have to physically be there and wait in line to get your ticket. And if you're part of that first 20 you're in, I
Wow.
still think it was 20. It was 20 when I was down there. Maybe they expanded it, but yeah. And all the seats are from the New York Yankees stadium, like excess seats, and they haven't changed in 50 years.
Wow.
Because the deal is that when the show gets canceled, Lauren Michaels has to return the seats to.
Oh my
to
God,
Steinbrenner.
really?
Yep, that's the deal.
That's crazy. Have you ever been there?
To SNL? Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because
Really?
I
That's
worked in the
cool.
Rockefeller Center, so I worked at 30 Rock as part of a writing group. In fact, I got to reconnect with a buddy who I hadn't seen in 10 years at that time. It was like one of my best friends today.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Very
So,
cool.
I mean, it was fun working down there, and this would be the pre-woke era. But it was still
Well, yeah,
like,
because 30 Rock was actually good. I remember 30 Rock.
yes. I
I
think
didn't finish it.
I was down there in 2014, 2015, I think. So I think 30 Rock had already been finished by then, but we would do all of our writing stuff and our proofing. And then on Saturday night, we wouldn't be able to go into the studio proper, but we could go above the studio by the director's room. There's a big glass wall. You can watch the show from there and hear everything and stuff. And used to hang out and watch the show and make fun of how bad it was.
When did you like write for it? Did you like the whole time or early season?
I was
late
writing
season?
I was writing in general for NBC. So any assignment stuff that came down, it went to a whole group of us, and then we would be assigned the
Oh.
stuff and we'd write it. It wasn't really sketches, and it wasn't always stuff for their network. It was development things, parts of their pitches, story workshops, all that type of stuff for the new seasons. So a lot of stuff was rejected, and a couple of things I worked on got picked up, but because we were contracted, not part of the actual development team, we didn't get to get on staff, which stunk, but great learning experience, a lot of networking. Did boost my career for a few years afterwards. So it was good.
Well,
and also
and
I got to learn a
it's
lot about
interesting.
Rockefeller Center.
Well, and it's also really interesting that you say that about networking, because I was watching this clip of I think it was like some lady who worked in Hollywood, she was like like a manager or somebody, like a publicist or somebody. I don't know who she was, but she was like a Hollywood person. And she was saying like that would be my advice actually. Like it's great for them to go because whenever you get into these kind of dramas, you should push through. Go, because this is basically like SNL, like you were saying. It's like basically a hobnob of everybody in the industry. So that's where deals are made and castings are done and things like that. So my advice to anyone getting canceled is if you get invited to something like SNL, you go and you promote yourself. Because you're basically showing the industry that everybody still loves you, like you're still Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, which is interesting in and of itself, but it's definitely had a backlash here. I think the only other important part of this article, John, was the part that the person said, "I'm remaining anonymous because I don't want it to ruin my career." Because other than that, everything else is basically kind of telling the stuff we've already said. But that's basically the lowdown, is that this other anonymous person from the set has spoken out about for Justin Baldoni. There was another person actually too. This is from like internet sleuths that I found.
I have one question. What do you suspect the odds that this anonymous supporter of Justin Baldoni could be Ryan Reynolds trolling?
I don't know. I don't think so. But there was another person that would be funny. But there's another person here. This is from BB, the account. Says this is the second person who has come forward in their positive experience with Justin, specifically in reference to the IEWU set, or it ends with us, I guess, set, insinuating that Blake Lively's claims are bogus. Jackie London editor. So this is Jackie London saying, "I've worked with Justin for so many years, and he actually brought me on for this project as well. He wanted to bring me on as another female editor, one that he knows has a history of relating to on the subject matter that could help with some of those crucial scenes. This is absurd. It's disgusting. This is not who Justin is whatsoever. I've worked on multiple projects with him. I've met his family. I can assure you that none of this is true. This is the first time I'm actually commenting on any of this, because this is an insane, and I just feel horrible for his family and his kids. But this is a named person, Jackie London, who was brave enough to say something. And this person says, "Hi, Jackie. We really need you on the record. Thoughts on Justin Blake's situation? We hardly see anyone defending Justin in public, and it's very disheartening. Unfortunately, I believe that there are legal reasons why you're not hearing more from his coworkers, friends, and family." And that's basically it, because of so much of the legal stuff, I guess. This one says, I don't know what this is. Thanks for so much for this. I had no idea how many waves on my comments would create. It's just unbearable sitting back and watching just horrible things being said about my friend, someone who I know is a complete opposite of what he's being accused of. It shows the real dark side of Hollywood and of what people with power think they can get away with. I don't care about all of the Hollywood politics BS of this. I firmly stand behind what I said because it's true. So that's somebody actually, with names that is standing up for the guy. It'll be really interesting to see what happens from here. I guess there's going to be another amendment by the other team, the Baldoni team now. But otherwise, that's basically it. You have been caught up. John, what did you think of all this? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It seems like Baldoni is the victim in this whole situation, and that, like it's been stated and said, that, ultimately it's people with power. They've got more money than him. They're gonna put him through the ringer. Their reputation is probably it's already taken a hit. Do they really care? I don't know. But it just seems like one colossal, stupid waste of time and a lot of pride and ego of Blake Lively. It seems like she's probably the instigator of this whole entire thing. So
I don't know if she is the instigator. I feel like Ryan Reynolds has he has a role to play. I don't know how much, but I think she's being I think he's the instigator more than pretty much anybody else. I don't know though. I think he's definitely
if he is the instigator, then Blake Lively must be amazing in bed.
Yeah.
Because for a guy to go this far,
what a pain in the ass. Yeah, like it's just such a pain. Like who would even want it? Like even if this stuff was like partially true, which again the accusations they don't seem like really that. I don't know. Like
they're not crazy accusations.
He bit her lip during a kissing scene. Well, it's acting, and you're supposed to be passionately in love. So, I mean, if he did, is it really necessary to go through all of this stuff? It just seems like, yeah.
Well, I take the advice I take the advice that George C. Scott, famous actor, has said. He said in a couple of situations when he's been opposite pretty girls in would-be intimate scenes, and he says, "If I get aroused, I'm sorry, and if I don't get aroused, I'm sorry."
Yeah,
no winning. Funny. There's no winning.
Well, that's what he's basically conveying, and it goes down to the fact that whenever you're in an intimate scene, the two actors have to be in control of it. And I've never known, like, the whole idea of the intimacy coordinator, there's actually two variations of it. There's one that is like over your shoulder, super like prudish and trying to keep everything all fine. And then there's the other one that's like saying, yeah, listen, we need you to ride him a little bit more viciously because it's supposed to be a hot and steamy sex scene. So let's coordinate and work together to get that done, and, they work with, they're basically being, they're basically given permission for the director to say something perverted without actually having to say it directly to the cast. It goes through the filter of the intimacy coordinator who can do it. And then the actors then coordinate and they come up with a plan of how they're supposed to do it. I will say this though, as a director, your main job as a director is to keep your cast safe. And if Baldoni's a director and he's in a kissing scene and he then bites Blake's lip without her permission or knowledge of it, that is a violation of keeping her safe. So she's in the right to complain. Sure. I don't think she's in the right to escalate it the way she did, but she's in the right to complain because you do not do that to your cast. Like there are other directors like Rifkin wouldn't tell, what's her name during The Exorcist that they're going to yank super hard on the wires to like pull her away. They did that by surprise. McTiernan didn't tell Alan Rickman that they were going to drop him suddenly.
Oh no!
For that final shot. All of those things are in violation. However,
for the Die Hard thing, right?
Well, the only The Exorcist one caused a problem because I believe that actress got suffered an injury on her back, and that caused some controversy
Yikes.
afterwards. The Alan Rickman one, he didn't mind it afterwards because he appreciated exactly what was needed as a result. But again, like a director's job is to make sure that every actor is safe so that they can focus only on their performance and not have any reservations or doubts about what they're doing. The moment you throw a monkey wrench in there to get a reaction that you want, and you think that's the only way to do it, that shows that you're a terrible director, because a good director would know how to communicate that without having to throw a monkey wrench in the works to get that reaction.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
I would say it's both. It's unprofessional on both their parts. But at the same time, it's like this is taking that level of unprofessionalism way too far, and also onto the public square, which is incredibly unprofessional.
That's a really crazy part. I think one of the reasons that I think this is really funny is because it originally kind of started with like, oh, he asked my weight, and like it was like, oh, like he sexually harassed me by asking me my weight, and then the accusation just seems so weird. Like he started referring to me as sexy and like blah blah blah, but then it turned out that she was the one that was referring to herself as sexy, and like everything's sexy, everything's got to be sexy, and like blah blah blah. Remember the like how like I don't know, Script Doctor, if you remember that, because that's how she talks. Is like, oh, this is so sexy, you guys, like sexy this, sexy that, and there's like interviews with her where she's talking like that. And I thought
about like wearing like a masculine suit and making that sexy or something.
Yeah, something like that. And then and so I thought to myself, it's really funny because it's like as if it's like she tried to bring sexy back, like the song, and then when it caught on, she was like, "They're sexually harassing me. They keep telling me I'm sexy," and I was like, "Well, you kept saying to bring it back, like, and now it's like, oh, they're all fucking trying to sexually harass you." I don't know. She's just such a narcissist. They're all such narcissists. Here is something really funny. Some lady that's pretending to be Blake Lively, and I thought this was fucking hilarious. Okay, here we go.
I like the beauty mole there. It's funny.
She's got it down right. She's good.
Congrats on the premiere.
And congrats on being a fat bitch. I've gotta go. Sorry, I was just daydreaming about Deadpool x Wolverine in AMC movie theaters now, doing a collab with Jack in the Box. What were you asking me about? Oh yeah, domestic violence. Director? We didn't have one of those for this movie. No, we didn't have one of those. This movie's so important because I'm in it and I get to wear my clothes and me and I, and when there's me when I
You look really nice.
You look like a drowned sewer rat. My husband Ryan Reynolds is calling me on my Mint mobile phone. Did I mention my husband is Ryan Reynolds? Sorry, he's calling me on my Mint mobile phone. I just really think there was something so charming about the South in the 1800s. Did I mention myself yet? The jacket's actually bowed. Well, it's my husband's, Ryan Reynolds. He's in Deadpool x Wolverine, out in AMC movie theaters now. Tickets available and a popcorn bucket. And those florals. Wash your hair with Blake Brown hair care products and come out and see the rom-com of the summer. Gotta go.
Congrats on the premiere.
I couldn't stop laughing at this.
It's pretty good.
Congrats on being a fat bitch. There was another one too that was really good by the same girl. We're gonna watch this because it's good. Here it is.
Take a whiskey neat because I'm not like other girls.
Uh-huh.
No, that's okay. You go ahead. I want to take it in from here. I'll take a whiskey neat because I'm not like other girls. I've got to go. You're a neurosurgeon? Oh, you're serious. Oh, well, I just thought you were like a stripper or a kid diddler based on how you look. The writing in this scene is so good. The dragons think so too. Sorry, I just woke up. I look a mess.
Are you wearing fishnets?
The fishnets stay on. Wait, I'm getting a call on my Mint mobile phone.
Your pants are unbuttoned.
Which pair? Wait until I tell my husband that you said that to me. I gotta go. I'm Khaleesi, and yeah, my dragons might bite, but never with teeth. My name? No, I can't tell you. It's too embarrassing. Maybe if you call me on my Mint mobile phone one day, I'll tell you. I have to work at my flower shop with my baby and swing him. Well, I have purses on me for some reason as a mom of a newborn. A beanie makes it sexy. So more beanie equals more sexy. Simple math. No, that's okay. You got.
Oh my god! Like she's being wrecked. That's what I'm talking about. Like it's over. Like she is like the laughing stock. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, she like burned down her career.
She totally did.
She didn't have much of one to begin with, to be
It's true.
fair. I mean,
But at least she was liked. Like people liked her. Like they were like, oh, she's pretty and whatever. She's all
Well,
right.
they didn't hate her. You know?
Exactly. They
they
didn't
like
hate
her
her.
breast
They
implants.
liked
I
her.
mean,
We were all very indifferent towards her. I mean, like even I who watched Gossip Girl, like I was like more of a Blair Waldorf girl, but you know, I didn't hate her. Now I hate her. Now I don't like her at all.
have you seen that movie where she's like in the middle of the ocean and she's surrounded by a shark and you're cheering on for the shark? Is that now the case?
Oh my God. No, is it a Blake Lively movie?
Yeah, it's a Blake Lively film.
I would.
That deep-
Oh,
What's it called?
I can't remember. I
yeah.
just
What
remember
is
the
this movie
trailer.
called? I would cheer for the shark now. Hey, what's up? Russell Hall is here for $5. Says the best directors push their actors past their limits. That's why movies were actually good back in the day. You know, I kind of agree with Russell on this. As I think somebody that one of the most famous directors that has done that multiple times and basically like borderline abuse was Alfred Hitchcock.
Alfred
I mean, that
Hitchcock
guy.
and Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah.
The way that they did it is they'd actually tell their actors, you're going to be exhausted by the end of this production, because
Mhm.
basically saying like, because that's what it's done. They never just did it out of the blue. Stanley Kubrick would do this thing where he would let the actors do as many takes as possible and waste days just to entertain the actor to see what would happen. And it wouldn't be until the actor finally clicked and realized, I know exactly what performance I have to give, that Kubrick would say, okay, we're done here. Now let's move on.
Wow. So basically kind of drove him insane until they're like, oh, okay, now I know what I know what he wants. Like it's kind of like a form of torture, really.
Well, the thing is that Kubrick would say what he wants, and then the actor and actors have a lot of doubt when they're doing a performance. They would do it and they'd be like, I think I can do it better now. And Kubrick would be like, okay, let's do it again. And he would just kind of let them dictate how many performances they would give for that particular shot or scene. And Kubrick already knew which one he was going to select at the end, but he would still roll the film. Like there's apparently way more excess footage in Eyes Wide Shut than just the alternate cut that he intended to, because he had, I think there was this one scene between Tom Cruise and the other actor around a pool table. And I think they shot it. For like
Pollock.
Yeah. And I think they shot it for like 8 hours straight. And it's just that one shot of that scene over and over.
I think it was days or so. I mean, it was insane. Well, that is like the longest. It was the longest production, ever. Eyes Wide Shut, surprisingly. But Shelley Duvall, Kubrick put her through like over 100 takes, I think, on the stair scene.
Yes, because she kept on ruining the takes. Why? Duvall was actually going through a spell at that time, sadly. She got over it afterwards and kind of straightened herself out. But like that production was a nightmare for a lot of people just because of the set, the intensity, the tone, and the fact that the whole dynamic was that he needed Shelley Duvall to be as vulnerable as possible. And every single time that she would do it within the first few rungs, it was never convincing enough. So he kept on saying, we got to go again. We got to push. Do I have to tell Jack to do something extra? What do we got to do? Because some of the behind the scenes stuff there, even the letters that Kubrick's daughter has collected, all paint a picture where it's like Kubrick is trying to get the movie done, and he's trying to get the performance out of Shelley, and Shelley is interpreting some of his actions way out of the context of what he's actually asking of her. And I think even later, before Shelley Duvall passed away, there's a follow-up where she's like, yeah, it was a horrible time. I was not in my right frame of mind. And I don't think that helped with my performance of the role. And that's why Kubrick, spent so much time trying to get that performance out of me for that movie to work. But the other part too is, again, if this has been taught from all the times, even Hitchcock has it in one of his books. He's like, your entire responsibility is to keep your talent safe, that they have to trust you. And yes, you're going to push them. Yes, you're going to make them feel uncomfortable, but if they don't trust you, then they're not going to give you the performance you want.
Check it out. Stanley Kubrick treating Shelley Duvall like shit on the set of The Shining. Here's the video.
Yeah, let's go for this.
Pulled all my hair. I pulled hunks of hair out on the windowsill. On the back got caught.
These are trim hunks of hair.
Oh, look.
Okay.
It just comes out.
Right now, fellas.
Oh my God.
There's more to come, Joe. Come on.
Come on. I'm
Let's
ready.
get it set up anyway now, boys.
Let's go. Come on, Sean.
Get the dummy.
He's just like, okay, whatever.
That was a couple of strands. My girlfriend sheds
Let's
that
go.
daily. And
I have the fireplace, the 18 in the tube, swing it all back in here. Yeah, I was going to go outside. That was time.
Kubrick's daughter shot this.
25 to 1.
I don't sympathize.
Wait, what?
Kubrick's daughter shot this. I think, did she score the film too?
oh, I can't remember.
I don't know. I have no idea.
With Shelley.
Keep it rolling.
Keep the video rolling.
Keep video rolling.
Reduce the smoke a little, Alan.
Reduce the smoke a little bit, Alan. Okay, turn over. Okay, turn over. Right, roll video and action, Shelley.
Action, Shelley.
Nobody even said roll video.
Desperate. Oh, come on. What do you mean roll
2
video?
seconds.
We're killing ourselves out here, and you've got to be ready.
I am too. I'm standing
we
right
play
by
mood
the
music?
door. No, I
Yeah,
can't
but when you
hear.
came in like this, you said it is.
We're sitting there because they say, wait a minute, and then you say on the radio,
But when you
go.
do it, you've got to look desperate, Shelley. You're just wasting everybody's time now.
I can't even get
Well,
this
bring it
door
down.
open. You have, on the record,
Oh my god.
There's more.
poor
to it,
woman.
Yeah.
Oh, that's normal stuff.
that one,
She's
that
making
wasn't
she's
even that
I can't even
abusive.
get the door open. Why didn't you tell us that beforehand?
It's like, damn it, Shelley. This is like one of those, because back then they didn't even have like CGI. So it's
Nope.
like it took us like what are the $20,000 for that shot? And now, like,
We had to
missed
shovel that
it.
snow into the crane, pull it up, then offload it over here. And we're telling you
Yeah.
action, and you're not coming out. I couldn't hear you. The guy on the radio is right next to you. Well, I didn't hear. Were you not paying attention, woman? Well, I can't open the door. Oh, that's the moment where you realize, okay, this actress is embarrassed that she screwed up and she's giving excuses.
Yeah.
And on top of that, she's probably forgot what happened during the rehearsal.
Oh my god. Russell Hall for 5 says, if I'm honest, I would also shoot countless hours of extra footage if I was directing Eyes Wide Shut. You know, just for me. You fucking hell, Russell. God damn.
You like those masks, huh? Okay.
He's giving us his kinks. Thank you for another $5. Nicole, this is the scene where you drop your lipstick and have to slowly bend over to pick it up. No squat, a little more. Don't clench. Okay, hold that. Jesus Christ, Russell. Thank you. I'm never watching any of your movies. I watched this today because I watch Seinfeld all the time and I'm weird. And it just kind of reminded me of what this whole thing has been about, which is women inserting themselves into places where they're not supposed to do that, like trying to write scripts. Here's a good scene.
With that NBC guy.
Great. Pilot's back on. In fact, Elaine's going out with him tomorrow night. Hey, listen, Elaine. You know, if Russell mentions anything about the pilot, you'll of course tell him, how much you liked it.
You know, I happen to have the script right here with me. And on page 3, for example, suppose the Elaine character comes in wearing a low-cut dress, and the butler is very distracted and can't work.
That kind of comedy, that's a little broad for us.
Well, I'm sure it's right up Russell's alley.
Well, it's a funny idea. It's funny, Funny is funny. Funny's funny.
Yeah.
We're here to entertain, right?
All right. Well, maybe I'll mention it to Russell tomorrow night.
If you can. Yeah.
Oh boy, it's so good. It's so good. They always nailed it. You know what wasn't done right? Mark Hamill's pants. Apparently he doesn't know how to wear pants anymore. John, did you see that?
I did see this. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
He had a
This
wardrobe malfunction. I don't like what happened.
Was he getting a
Is it still-
BJ like in the back and then forgot to like zip up as he came out into the stage? I mean, I don't know, but it's certainly
Or is he
just
like
not
is he
look right.
joking around? Like
I don't know. Let's let the audience decide because I don't
Listen,
know.
films
what
create
to make
worlds
of
so
this.
vivid and stories so powerful that we lose ourselves in them completely. They create immersive cinematic landscapes that feel alive, whether they're set here in London or anywhere your imagination can take. It's that films create worlds so vivid and stories so powerful that we lose ourselves in them completely. They create immersive cinematic landscapes.
I mean, it's completely fallen off. Like it was.
It fell a good 8 inches down.
The timing of when we lose ourselves, it's like losing his pants.
Yeah, I was saying on a stream last night, like it's almost as if you could splice this in with the gimmick in Police Academy where the prostitute's underneath the podium during the speech, and it would work bit for bit because you're like, was someone under there? But then you go to that other angle and you see the podium from the side, and like, okay, nobody could fit underneath there. So how did this? I mean, it's a freak accident. I feel a little bit sorry for him.
Sure.
But I also think
I
it's kind of interesting that this is one of the rare instances because I've seen Mark Hamill speak in public, and when things go awry, he rolls with it. This is the first time where he doesn't even stop me, like, okay, where's the Sith Lord? Why is he trying to drop my trowel? You know, and then go back to the
He just
speech.
keeps going.
He was just sticking straight to the teleprompter, and that was kind of weird.
That's a good point. Maybe he just popped a button. That's
possible.
It's possible. Maybe he just popped a button and he like lost a lot of weight, so he like his pants.
Do
don't
those
fit.
things have I know sometimes like tuxedos, if you rent a tuxedo or whatever, do they have the access to wear a belt? I mean, I would think they would.
No,
but...
usually
Typical.
they do, but
Mhm.
dudes don't they usually wear the what are those things
Suspenders?
called? Yeah, the suspenders with tuxedos. I don't know. I mean, you guys
It
are
depends on
dudes.
what type of like. There's a penguin suit that has a cummerbund, so the cummerbund covers the belt. So or the clips for the suspenders. This one here doesn't look like that. I'm on the like I was telling you guys on in the private chat the other day.
He doesn't have much of a podium to stand behind either. Like it's not like a big, it's not
But
a
he did-
huge.
It looks like he
huge
caught
Thank
it before it hit
God the
knee.
podium was there because my God, can you guys imagine if it wasn't? What if he's not wearing any underwear? That would have been terrible.
Come
if he's
on,
going
you know,
commando.
I think this
There's
is
no
an old
way.
suit of his because I know his wife is frugal. Because again, he was only working infrequently during the 80s a lot. So they've got those habits of, not spending beyond their means. But he did lose a ton of weight deliberately for the sequel trilogy. And it doesn't look like he put it back on afterwards.
Mm.
And I'm wondering, like, okay, did he get his suits altered and did they not adjust the pants to
Possible.
fit him?
Very possible.
Yeah. Russell Hall for 2 says, okay, who glued the flashlight on the podium? Jesus Christ, Russell. I don't even know what to say to you sometimes.
Like I was saying, I've been in situations where I've been out and about and all of a sudden my pants start to fall down. I'm like, why? My belt's on tight, but you just got to catch it and fix it up. And then the one time where my hands were full bringing groceries into the house for my car and my pants fell down and there's nothing I could do. And that's how I started dating my neighbor for about 7-8 months afterwards because she saw that, laughed, and helped me.
Oh, that's kind of cute. Did she also kind of see like the size of your package and she was like, okay, yeah, I'm
I
interested.
suspect that would be the case. Yes.
That's really interesting. Okay.
I try to wear long shirts to try and do that, but they have to also rest well on the shoulder, and you don't get a good shoulder to waist length ratio on shirts.
Right. So John, I mean, it's been a while. This is why I love doing Infinite Talk with you like once a month because so much stuff happens in like a month. And we're like, oh my God, there's like so much stuff has happened. So did you hear about Elon Musk's 13th baby?
Oh yeah, of course.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. Tell me your thoughts about Ashley Sinclair announcing how she did. Like tell me your thoughts about this baby situation.
Well, I was following Ashley on X for some time, so I kind of knew who she was. Like I knew she was somewhat of a comedian. I know she worked for the Babylon Bee. So that's kind of how what I knew of her. So when she came out and said that she was pregnant with Elon's kid, and the fact that I think when Elon saved the bee too from Twitter, it kind of adds up and makes sense. So I guess I wasn't too surprised. I know a lot of people came after her because, you know, she's conservative. I don't know if she's a Christian or whatever, but it's kind of like,
She's Jewish.
is she? Okay. But it's,
She's Jewish and not funny. God, that's a combination.
I do think she is funny, but like people are coming after, like saying that she was a hoe or all these different things. But I don't know. I think if you wait to sleep with the richest man on earth, like you have some level of standards versus like the chick that's at the bar and she just goes home with any guy. So I
That's
just felt
interesting.
like, yeah, I just felt like,
Do you think people were coming down on her too hard?
yeah, I mean, not that I'm, you know, in terms of my own personal beliefs, I'm not necessarily condoning, you know, sex before marriage or, you know, having a kid out of wedlock or anything like that. I'm not necessarily condoning it, but it happens. You know,
Do
I'm
you
not,
think this is the definition of gold digging, though? Because isn't this basically like I'm going to hold out for that gold?
I mean,
Which
it is a
basically-
tactic used to get impregnated by one of the wealthiest men on the planet to have a child support, which you yourself are going to spend more on you than the child.
yeah. I mean, it's,
with a name like that, Ashley St. Clair sounds like a porn star name. And let's not kid ourselves here.
Didn't she do porn?
I don't know.
I
I
don't
hope
think
not.
so. No, I don't think
Russell,
it's-
didn't she do porn? I'm pretty sure she did. I think she did like lewd stuff. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if she did like actual porn. Russell would know because he's the resident pornaholic in the chat. So he'll
It's a good
let us-
resource to have for those questions.
You never know when you're gonna need that information.
He says I have no idea. Yeah, right. I don't believe you, Russell.
that means no. She did not. She was
That's
not-
true because he would know if she
yeah.
had done porn. This is true. Keep going. Okay, tell me your
I mean, that's about it. Like I just think a lot of people, I didn't really, I don't know. Maybe I'm a little bit more biased towards her because I've been following her account, and I think I do legit think she is pretty funny. So
Really? He's
obviously
not
there's
that funny.
well, if you've been following her for like the past couple of years, you know,
I was following her for a little bit. I mean, I don't
how
remember, like-
long? Like the last week when this came out?
No. Like since before, like Trump started tried to run again. Since basically like COVID, like because I started following whoever was against the shots, basically. Like so, whoever was like being like, you know, speaking out about the mandate stuff,
Okay.
and she was one of those people, and I liked that. And that was one of the reasons that I liked her was because she was outspoken about certain things and government overreach and like blah blah blah. So I was following her for a bit too, but then she kind of started being weird though, like around the time that I actually stopped following her around the time that Elon bought Twitter, and then it became like a monetized thing because I felt like she was using it as one of those kind of like she was doing a lot of engagement bait. And actually, one of the things that really annoyed me was that she became like one of those reply guys to Elon Musk. Like, so I was kind of like really annoyed because I was like, oh, like everything he does, she's all like in there. She's like all up in the replies, like, you know, I love you, Elon. Like every 5 seconds, she was like just kind of became like this cheerleader for Elon. And I was like, don't you have anything else going on of your own other than like let me cheer on Elon Musk?
Well, I think they met, and so there was, yeah. I mean, she probably felt like they had some sort. I mean, if the reports are true, obviously, you know,
she wanted the ring, bro. She wanted the ring.
I don't know if she wanted the ring. I think she got exactly what she wanted.
No, script doctor. She's that. No, she did not get what she wanted.
Here's the thing, though. Like, I think for most women, you put most women in the situation where she is around the richest man in the world. We're not just talking about like just a rich guy, but we're talking about the richest man in the world. Elon has chicks flying. Like, I have to imagine any chick that gets into his vicinity is, I mean, I would ask a majority of women out there, wouldn't you probably maybe shoot your shot?
I mean, if you want my answer, the answer is absolutely not, because I
Not?
think
Okay.
he's ugly.
Okay.
Like I think he's terribly ugly. He's just not a good looking guy. But and also I think he's crazy. Like I actually think he's fucking nuts. So I wouldn't want to. I would never want to sleep with the person that could bring about the end of the universe, which I fully believe that he might.
So you think it's like Rosemary? You think it's like Rosemary's Baby, maybe?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this dude is crazy. He's nuts. Like he's either like a combination of like the Antichrist or Reverse Flash. I mean, take your pick. This guy's gonna ruin the
All right,
world.
stand corrected. Here I am thinking like Nina's like, no, it's
No.
not enough. It's not enough.
No, man. Like what? Money can't buy happiness. Okay. I truly believe that. Like I don't and I've had money. Like it helps, but it's not one of those things like where it's just like, oh, I need all the money. At least I'm not one of those people. But I can understand why some girls would be though. I can see it. Real quick, Russell is saying that he's denying that he even watches porn at this point. Now, dude, I'm pressing X to doubt on this one. Thanks, Russell. Also for 2 though, although I am looking up right now. So he's doing research for us. Thank you, Russell. And then for 2, holy shikes, yep, full pink and wrinkly stink. So yeah, she did porn. I heard that's what happened. So
Yeah, I don't know about. I mean, I'm sure there's a porn star out there named Ashley St. Clair.
Yeah, it sounds like a porn name.
Like I'm not.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure she did.
Probably
It, though.
happened.
I'm just saying. I don't know if it was like full out porn, but I'm pretty sure she's done like lewds, like she's done nudes and like that kind of stuff.
Attention grabbing images.
Well, here's the other thing too,
and nude photos, like full on nude photos.
And I get I understand Christians coming out and condemning the thing, but at the same it's funny. But at the same time, I'm not going to hold somebody who's not a Christian to like some sort of Christian standard.
Well, she's Jewish. She's Jewish, so I mean,
okay,
it makes sense in the sense that they also believe in the marriage and the sanctity of marriage.
However,
and stuff.
I think the Christians shouldn't be judging her because if she is a Jewish woman and she got impregnated and it's something that is alluded to as an immaculate conception, the Christians should really be all over her in praise.
Yeah.
Because again, if it was IVF or was it bumping uglies twice full because it's Elon, I don't know. I think Christians would be like, oh my gosh, yes, another Jewish woman who is now impregnated with the son of the most richest or the child of the most richest man in the world, the most powerful man in the world, the one who is saving government with Doge. Shouldn't the Christians be all over that?
Russell Hall just killed me with a super chat. He says for $2, I know her better than OBGYN delivery.
God.
Okay, so maybe she did full on porn. Then there you go. I don't.
Yeah, I just think I think for the guys though, it's like if you had the female equivalent to Elon Musk. I'm not talking about like a super rich chick, although if that's your thing, but like let's say the most attractive woman, and you had the opportunity to smash.
Would you do it, John?
I don't know, to be honest with you. I mean, you never want to say never, or you never want to say one way or the other because you don't know. But it's just like that thing where it's like if you had like you felt like it was like a once in a lifetime opportunity, where it's just like it's not for these guys saying like now if she did porn, that's a whole different situation, okay? Like, but like if she's not going around and sleeping with like a bunch of guys, it's not necessarily the same as she's not being a hoe if she just slept with Elon Musk. It's a little bit different than hoeing yourself out, in my opinion. Again, she's having a kid out of wedlock, so there's that. I'm not saying but there's still a difference.
I think what's the most annoying to me is the idea that it's not even like the hoeing around, because honestly, like I would understand. Like, yeah, if it's the richest man in the world, whatever, you're gonna sleep with them. Like, it's whatever. It is what it is, right?
I mean, she could legit be attracted. Like, she could have legit fallen for him too.
Yeah, like
you know?
that's to me, that's like whatever. That's totally fine. What I think I have a problem with the most is the fact that she spouted so many conservative values and was all about the nuclear family and was all about like against single motherhood and like basically talking shit a lot about single motherhood.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff that really got to me because I'm like, I mean, you're saying a lot of stuff, and then you went and did the exact opposite. And I really do believe she thought that she could change him. Like I think that she
They
actually
always do. They always-
yeah, she thought
they
that he
always
was
think
gonna marry her or something.
Yeah,
I'm like,
there are
"Dude,
women out
you're
there.
dumb."
You know, just assume that you're not going to be able to change the guy. Accept him for who he is, or move on.
Well, especially him. Like here's the dude who, first of all, has all of his babies through IVF, which is another whole different conversation because I don't believe in IVF. I think IVF is creepy as fuck. Like
He's got to screen out all of his bad genes. That's why.
exactly, and he's like trying to like create the perfect human, and like he's all about
Eugenics,
he's a well, yes, but also he's a transhumanist. Like he is definitely 100% a transhumanist, which I'm against. I'm not into transhumanism. I think they're fucking crazy. He wants to merge us with machines. He is like, full on into that. I'm not into that. So he's like you have to have like the best of both, right? Like, so if you can't merge yourself with a machine, you can at least fuck with DNA to a point where it becomes perfect or close to perfect, according to him. Also, he doesn't like female genes, so he like texts. He wants to have only male. Like he wants to have
He has like
sons.
2 daughters, I think, out of all of them, right?
He has one daughter.
Oh, okay.
And the other one is a trans daughter. Like it was a boy and it transitioned into a girl.
Elon, even as much as he tried to control everything,
he couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So he's trying to be like the geeky version of Genghis Khan. Instead of like screwing his way to tons of kids, he's just like, no, I'll just deposit and ship.
Very interesting. See, I didn't know that. I thought he was smashing. I mean, he was smashing Amber Heard.
See, that's another.
Allegedly so, but doesn't Amber Heard have a daughter?
Yes, but who's the daddy? A lot of people think that they had an IVF baby together, and then they had a whole. Apparently, there's been like a whole lawsuit or something about his spunk that she wanted more of, and then he was like, "No, because you're crazy, and I don't want having more kids with you." There's been like a whole thing about that. Tug knows a lot about that umbrella guy. But there was like this whole thing. I think, yeah, they did it through a surrogate. Correct. But I think that there's been but it was IVF though. It was done through IVF, and it's just I think he's nuts. Like I really do believe he's fucking nuts. Like
He's definitely orbiting a Bond villain.
Yes, very Bond villain-esque. Exactly. Like that's why I'm saying he like kind of like reverse Flash, because he has that, really good kind of persona, and then something will happen and then he'll become like the fucking, crazy ass son of a bitch that will basically ruin everything. This is I saw this other thing, by the way, like that was the other thing that really annoyed me about her, John. The whole like, I want privacy, and then she went and like pulled a Meghan Markle and went to the New York Post like the next day, and then did like a professional photo shoot in there with her like, weird outfit.
See, that's funny.
This isn't that one.
The stuff she writes, not so much, unless it's like a headline, because I've read the sketches and seen the sketches that the Bee does. They are cringy. But the headlines are actually pretty good.
Some of them are, very cringy. Look at this. Elon, we've been trying to communicate for the past several days and you have not responded. When are you going to reply to me or to us instead of publicly responding to smears of an individual who just posted photos of me in underwear at 15 years old? By the way, she posted those photos of herself.
Why did you pose for those photos, lady?
like I said, she's been doing weird stuff for a long time, and then she kind of changed images. But she did that whole like professional photo shoot with the with the chessboard, which was not set up correctly. Did you see that one?
No, I didn't see it.
Hold on, let me pull it up. Where's her? God, the New York Post has like 1 million articles now with her.
Well, it's
Here we
Elon's
go.
latest kid is a hot news item.
Yeah, because I mean now they're like milking it.
And that kid's getting some milk too.
Dun-dun-dun.
I think this was it. Okay, this is one of the photos. Where's the one with the? There it is with the chessboard. This is a different photo because there was another one. So they took like several photos of the chessboard because in the other one she was not like touching the chessboard. Now this one and she's touching it in this one. Yeah, the chessboard is not set up correctly.
That's funny.
Oh, let me see if I can zoom in so you can see.
Yeah, the knights are where the bishops are supposed to be, I think.
So has Elon confirmed that it's his kid or?
Basically, not quite yet. Oh wait, what happened to the screen? Oh, there it is. I was trying to zoom in for you guys to see this chess.
Yeah, the rooks should be
Rooks are on the further south side. Then it's usually it's either knights or bishop. Yeah, maybe that's correct. I can't remember. It's been some time since I played chess.
Rook should be on the complete outside.
Yep.
Yeah, the rook should be on the out. And then it's the horsies here.
That's the knight.
This is
Yeah,
the
that's the
thingy.
bishop.
It was at that moment that Elon realized that there was no future.
She was doing like 4D chess. She's like, I'm playing chess. I will show you, Elon.
Well, she did make a comment too after that gold digger comment.
Oh yeah, about Zelensky. She called Zelensky a gold digger.
Yeah, obviously very self-aware.
Let's see. Let's pull that
comment.
up. Very clearly a self-aware comment. Oh, and apparently, like Elon stopped following her now. That's like the latest news. Is he stopped following her on X.
That I guess that means that there really is no chance. I mean I don't. On the one hand, too, I really don't see a whole lot of here's the thing: if they're like two consenting adults, and Elon is going to support her and the kid, I mean, I don't know. It's not nearly as well. It's still bad.
It's okay. So here's the problem I'm having. It's the whole idea of the nuclear family that she is for, not necessarily he, because he is not conservative.
Yeah.
B, he is literally for transhumanism and robots taking over. So his idea of having a family is very different, and I honestly don't think that he can have normal relationships. That's why he doesn't have normal relationships, especially with I think he's incapable of it, especially with the mothers of his children. So he's not I just don't think he's that kind of person, a human being. I don't know if you want to call it narcissist or whatever, like whatever you want to put over this guy. For some reason, he's autistic and cannot form like normal relationships with people.
I think he's obsessed with his work or whatever he has going.
Career. It could be. Yeah, it could be. It could very well be. But either way, the point is that we talk about like the road to correcting a lot of these wrongs that have happened in our society is by to foster the idea that the nuclear family should be like that is something that, you know, especially conservatives value among all else, is to bring back the nuclear family.
Which is funny because they actually fought against it in the 1920s because the nuclear family was like, oh, you only really need to have 2.4 children because that's a nuclear family. Beforehand, you had up to 8 kids because you're also farmers and there's high mortality rates. So
Mhm.
you wanted to have that. And the conservatives at that time were like, that's against, God. It's to be fruitful and multiply and all that stuff. But society said, well, you don't really need to have that many unless you want to. It wasn't saying you have to only have 2.4. It was just saying like you shouldn't judge someone who just wants to have 1 or 2 kids because that's a tight knit group of to manage financially, especially during like the huge crash because nobody had a lot of money. It's like you can't afford to have a whole lot of kids at that point as well, because that extra mouth to feed was not something you could guarantee when you're in breadlines because of a stock market crash that was done so by tariffs and some bad plays on buying on margin. But it ended up becoming the norm from the 40s onward, and then eventually people saw, oh yeah, you know what? Sometimes it's nice to have under 8 kids and be able to remember all their names.
Yeah, but I mean, the point is though is that a lot of the problems that we've had with the liberalism and the far left ideology and
Well, I
feminism
call it
and
like
how
the kidnapping of the liberal ideology. Like that's basically it. It's a hostage
yeah,
situation now.
and it also became a thing where I think all these studies have been done now that one of the reasons that a lot of these like kids have been suffering is because the nuclear family was split apart and there was like absentee fathers, especially absentee fathers, because it became like all these kids started being raised by single mom households.
It was the
And so
pro-divorce movement because if the marriage gets too tough, divorce, don't work it out.
right.
And then marriage counselors were actually kind of not doing their job trying to mend fences. And then there's also the fact that society encouraged get married young, have kids young, as opposed, which is basically fools rush in where angels fail to tread, which means that you're swept up in the emotions of the moment. You're not learning about the person that you're with. And then you find out, okay, I don't actually like this person, but I have a couple of kids. I want a better life for myself, whether it's the husband or the wife. And then they have that separation. I mean, E.T., the movie E.T. by Steven Spielberg is one of 2 stories, the other one being Close Encounters of the Third Time, that's dealing with the concept of parental divorce. And for Steven Spielberg's entire life, he thought that his father was the bad guy that cheated and left. And then he found out later it was his mother that cheated. And his father didn't want a bad impression of his mother, of his children's mother on his kids. So he decided to take the blame, which showed how great of a man he was.
Yeah, that's
and
really
then
nice.
and that's why Steven Spielberg made Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, because that was all about reconciling with the father, because you find out what the truth is. And then you also find out that his movies afterwards steered away from the adventure of fantasy and the emotional aspects of children growing up and were more onto the serious stuff of adulthood. When he went back to Meet the Fettermans, I think it was, or whatever it was.
The Fablemans.
Fablemans, thank you. The Fablemans. He tried to recapture that again, but he didn't have that motivation anymore because the fantasy that he knew of stirred different types of emotions compared to what the reality was, and he's never been able to recapture that part of him. And it kind of shows the value of what it means to have a family that's loving parents that are sticking together with each other. And I'm basically, there's only 2 options when it comes to marriage. It either ends in divorce or it ends in death. That's it. Like you're always going to have that 50% ends in divorce because the alternative is death. That's it.
Right.
There's no other.
This is really dark, but
it's dark, but that's what you're doing for. You're basically saying, I love you so much that I want you to find my body cold and lifeless at some point in the future and then cherish my remains. And I will do the same for you. And hopefully we have children in the interim of that. It's a dark but also beautiful thing. But the fact of the matter is like, where has our culture in the West been in regards to encouraging the value of that? Right.
Right.
Like, so many people are obsessed with Romeo and Juliet. That is a warning sign. It is not a tragic. It's not a tragedy with regards to love that was never fulfilled. It was a tragedy when you don't pay attention to your surroundings and you are led by your loins as opposed to by your mind and heart.
Right.
Yeah.
And but that's one of the things that I kind of think is interesting is that in Ashley's case, she was, spouting all these ideas of wanting to have a nuclear family and wanting to have a husband and, having a father, a present father for her children. and then she goes and has a baby with Elon Musk, a
Well,
guy who would
things
never do
change. Things change when you get in the presence of the richest man on earth.
Yeah.
You know, like it's a different, you know, like you
Different
kind of
rule.
find out what your real ethics and morals
Your
are.
real values are. Yeah.
But I mean, she very well could have meant those things, but you know, here's the other thing too. Like once you get around somebody like Elon Musk,
Mm.
you're never like, again, it's different for everybody, but obviously for you, Nina, it's very different. But
I would be like, you're a freak.
yeah,
I don't know what's going on.
so
But
yeah, he wouldn't really have any power over you. But I'm sure for
I
and
think we could
I
talk
told-
video games though. Like
Yeah.
I'll talk video games with Elon all day, but you know.
yeah, but I'm sure for a lot of women, even if like there is some sort of allure to the fact that he is the richest and you know,
I have
in
no
some ways
doubt.
most powerful man on earth.
I have no doubt.
Like
You're right.
women you know, he could look worse than he, you know, I'm not saying
I
he looks
agree
bad,
with you.
but
And I think that's part of the reason why this whole thing bothers me so much is because I think that this is all on women. Like it's not, first of all, men, I mean, even outside of Elon, men are horn dogs. I mean, no offense to you guys. Like you will fuck whoever and you will plant your seeds. It is
well, I mean, not whoever, and I'm sure Elon's not going to he's not going to screw whoever, especially.
I
I
don't
think
know about that.
well, maybe. I mean, I don't know. I assume though he does have some standard because if he didn't, he'd be like, how many kids would he have out there now?
I mean, he has 13 that we know of.
That's
okay?
not really that many for considering how rich he is.
But that we know
And
of.
how many opportunity
Because I think we don't know about at least 10. I think we know, like, I think there's at least 10 kids we don't know about. One, the main one being Amber Heard's kid, which he's also refused to put his, put his name on the birth certificate of. But it's just funny to me that he was like, I'm not actually going to put my name on this certificate of this baby right here with Ashley, secret love child. Although, like, I do wonder what the name is because, I mean, the name Technomechanicus. I mean, this guy's he's a wonder with the names. I don't know. Like, I think if I ever ran into Elon, I think I could definitely talk to him about video games and his ideas on, AI and the future. I would probably tell him like, man, like you do realize they're going to kill us all, right? He'll probably laugh at that. He'll be like, yeah, but we got to try or something. Like, I think he knows, which is part of the reason that it freaks me out even more is that he knows what he's doing.
Man, Nita's really like, you really believe that he is.
I do.
Yeah. Wow.
I think he's
like
crazy.
you think he's the Antichrist.
Pretty much. Yeah. Like, I think so. He's as close as it's gonna come. Like the mark of the beast and all of that. Like, I mean, come on. Neuralink is it. Did you guys hear about how like the main guy, the first person, I forget his name. I think it's like Nolan something. That got the Neuralink like put into his head. He calls his chip Eve. He named it himself. He calls it Eve because he thinks that they may be Adam and Eve and they're bringing the world to an end. It's fucking wild. Like the shit that these people have. Like let me see if I can pull up that article where he says that.
Man. If you didn't have enough things to keep you up at night, folks, here's one more. No, it is. He definitely is flirting with some very interesting things. Not just women, of course, but technology
and infrastructure.
Yeah, I like what he's doing with Doge, though.
Me too.
Yeah, Doge is cool.
I mean, the fact of the matter is, like, he's just a reporting system because it's up to the president that then orders, okay, this is shutting down. We're not doing this here because that's the way it is. And it's based off of a law that Obama passed like almost 20 years ago.
Wow.
There it is. Neuralinks. Oh, wait, what happened to my screen? Everything crashed because I'm talking shit about Elon Musk and his AI.
We can see it.
Neuralink's first patient names his brain chip Eve, uses them to math and languages. But yeah, he makes a joke about that. He's like, Nolan. Yeah, his name was Nolan. I can't believe I remembered that. Groundbreaking brain chip has revealed that he's given the device a personal touch by naming it Eve 7 months post surgery. Shared that his activity working on the implant and has abilities to unlock new possibilities. Where's his joke? Because he makes the joke. It's like we're here to like end the world, basically. Does it say in here? No. Oh well.
It's been removed by AI.
I know. They were like,
Erased.
you don't need to know. What's up, Russell? Again, thank you for the $5. Says you know what really pisses me off about this whole situation? The richest guy on earth knocks you up, and he won't even spring for a lipoplasty.
That's labiaplasty.
Oh, What the hell, Russell?
I haven't
What is
seen
it?
any pictures of Ashley, but something suggests to me she may have got a cesarean to spare the hips.
I agree. I agree with that. Where is this even coming from? Oh my god. Is it because you just watched her porn? Oh my god. He says it's a mess down there. Oh no. Thank you for another $5. Russell says you do realize you just gave an example that directly undercut your point. Apparently Spielberg made good movies because he came from a broken home.
Well, I mean, there is that aspect of like,
Well, pain builds character.
He's one of the exceptions, but the fact of the matter is that I didn't say he stopped making good movies. I said he wasn't able to recapture those adventure fantasy type of films anymore, because you take a look at something like Jurassic Park, which was kind of like his last big hurrah that he nailed. Followed that up with Schindler's List. Then he did Amistad, which was a great movie.
That was a good movie.
He also did Saving Private Ryan, another fantastic film. Catch Me If You Can, which was great. Munich was
So good.
awesome. He did Lincoln, which I really enjoyed. Bridge
didn't
of
watch that.
Spies was fun as well. But like those are all serious films. They're not the stuff that made Spielberg, and he stopped doing that because again, he learned the truth. It doesn't mean that he made bad. I mean, he's never had a perfect career. He's made some lousy ones like War of the Worlds or Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. But the fact of the matter is that he was a good and talented director, but his entire perspective changed when he learned the truth. And when he tried to recapture some of that fantasy stuff with Ready Player One, he didn't quite nail it again. And I think that's why he, tried to go back to the Fablemans to sort of recapture what that was again. And even though that was a pretty solid film, I think it was him just trying to say, like, how can I get into the mindset of what I was at that point now that I know what the truth is? And we'll see what happens, because he has 3 projects up on the docket for directing. I wonder if he'll ever do them.
Really?
Or not.
Like
Yeah.
what? I mean, I feel like we need a good Spielberg movie. Like,
yeah,
I don't count fucking West Side
Story is a remake.
Story? Like,
Yeah,
no. Like,
Yeah,
we
no, I
need
don't
something
count that.
good. Like, we need like some sci-fi or like some sort of like something good, some war movie. I don't know, something good.
he had that stretch when he made, what he make? Minority Report. He made AI, War of the Worlds. Like, he was making sci-fi movies.
Minority
He was
Report.
doing the serious sci-fi films. Well, he picked up AI because Kubrick passed away in the early stages of it, and he wanted to finish that off as a respect for him. But yeah,
It's a very odd film for Spielberg. I feel like that's one of his weirder movies.
Well, that's him trying to direct like Kubrick would have directed it. That's him trying to like emulate that style. Minority Report is him trying to like touch into science fiction again, along with War of the Worlds. Even when he tried with The Adventures of Tintin, which I only think that movie didn't perform as well, is because it was computer
was a good
animated
movie.
as opposed to a live action, because that's him trying to recapture,
I actually loved it.
it.
Like, the only time I've ever liked a live action movie that was basically all CGI.
Yeah,
I
and
like
then
that movie a
BFG
lot.
kind of went under the radar. Like, that's
Which one?
BFG, the BFG.
Oh yeah, Big Friendly Giant.
Big Friendly Giant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know of it.
Oh.
And I guess
I
Ready
don't
Player.
think I
I
did.
guess he does do a lot of. He's had quite a few sci-fi films.
Oh my god, the
Sci-fi
Big
is his thing,
Friendly
yeah.
Giant sucked, man. That movie was awful. I remember that, and it was really bad. I can't believe he made that movie.
What do you guys think Spielberg's best like stretch of films was?
Ooh.
The ones you guys just named, like
I think it would have to be during the 80s because he did Raiders of the Lost Ark, E.T., Indiana Jones, Temple of Doom. He did The Color Purple, which was great. He did Empire of the Sun, which is great. He kind of closed that off with Indiana Jones again.
Last Crusade.
Yeah, with The Last Crusade. Because always is okay, but it just didn't stick for me.
Yeah. It's almost like you just forget that he even made that movie.
Pretty much.
Even Hook too, to some extent. Like it's not his strongest work. I'd say Jurassic Park, Schindler's List, Lost World. Like I wouldn't put that in there, but then he made Amistad and Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah,
So,
those are really good.
Those are like 4 out of 5 pretty good movies.
they're bangers, man. I mean, especially
yeah.
like compared to now, it's like the art of film has been lost. I think those like, and it's what's the crazy part is I always thought of myself not the biggest Spielberg fan. Like I was always like, he's all right. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and now, like I'm like, God damn, bring back Spielberg. Like, where is he? Like some good Spielberg. Like we need it.
He's one of the few directors that still does long takes without tons of cuts. I mean, I know it like in the conversation recently because of the long weekend, people were talking about Captain America 4 and you know how it's emulating the Winter Soldier. But if you watch the Winter Soldier and you see that great fight scene that's underneath the bridge highway and stuff, there is like 200 to 300 shots in that fight scene that only lasts maybe about 45 seconds.
Wow.
And that is really bad because you don't get immersed into it because you're being shown the images as opposed to seeing the actual flow of action. Like that's why I really love those Chinese martial arts films where they have a wide shot and you actually see the choreography and the artistry of what it is. And this goes to the fact that the Russo brothers, when they have a great script, they can make it work to film it, but they're not great directors because when they're not working with McFeely and Pearson and McFeely, who wrote 9 of the MCU films during their peak phases of 1, 2, and 3. When the Russos are on their own, they're actually quite mediocre. They're not doing anything fun or inventive directing wise. And even like, and none of the actors, and I say this even with regards to Zack Snyder, none of the actors that have worked for the Russos have ever won an award for the performances in their movies. Just like with Zack Snyder, not a single actor, great named actor that has worked with Zack Snyder has ever won an award for a performance in his movies.
It's not shocking, I suppose.
John, did you see the new Captain America?
No, not yet. I might. I'll probably wait for it to come out on stream.
It's better than the Marvels, but that's not saying much.
Yeah.
Harrison Ford does not phone it in. I'll say that.
Check out this run of Spielberg too, like Jaws, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Then he did 1941. That's like right in the middle. It's like the Lost World in that 5 film stretch. But then he did Raiders of the Lost Ark and E.T. So like 4 out of 5, like those are bangers, you know.
From 75 to 85, yeah, he's got a good. I mean, with the exception of Temple of Doom was good, but it was a little bit more hokier than expected, but it was still very much in the spirit of things.
Yeah,
but yeah, because up until that point, like Spielberg got started in television, and one of the coolest things he did is he directed like the official pilot to Columbo. Like there's a special TV movie that came before, and then the pilot of Columbo, Spielberg directed, and he did such a good job on that. And he established the tone of that entire series that they named a kid character in one of the later seasons after him in it with Robbie the Robot. and it was
that's cool. I didn't know that.
They loved him over there. Yeah.
Script Doctor, you're always teaching me stuff. Let me quickly get this really disgusting super chat out of the way. Thank you for the $2. Russell Hall says it looks like she sat on a cherry bomb. Nina, Jesus Christ! Thank you for that information. There's bad news. because last week, Script Doctor, we were talking about the DEI at Disney, like not going away anytime soon. And I mean, obviously, this
they're
was
quite
one of
into
this. Yeah, this was one of the things that obviously was in the in the pipeline coming out. But Malcolm in the Middle reboot, saying that there's going to be a non-binary. One of the siblings will come out as non-binary in the revival series to come to Disney Plus. That pisses me off. So
Well,
many
isn't there a
levels.
fifth kid? Because wasn't towards the later seasons the mom got pregnant again?
She got pregnant. I think they're gonna make Jamie because Jamie didn't technically grow up. We didn't see him like become like go to school and stuff like that. So I
Right.
think that's
Jamie's the older
the
one,
baby.
right?
No,
Oh, no,
Jamie's
the
the
baby.
youngest one, the little
Yeah, because
baby.
Dad Stewart was was originally the youngest
Stewie,
one,
yeah.
Stewie, but he
And
grew
then
up.
he became older. Like so, we saw him for a bit.
Yeah.
But I think they're gonna make Jamie the new like non-binary kid or
Well,
whatever
he's
because
young
we
enough
didn't
to
see him.
fall into that demographic, so that logically makes sense.
Yeah, but it really pisses me off though because I'm like, do we really need this? Like, what? Why do we need a non-binary kid in this family? It's so
So
cringe,
Disney.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Disney, so modern day Disney, so cringe. The only reason it's happening is because Disney owns Fox because originally this was a Fox show.
Yep.
So like now they've taken like that great property and they're gonna make it like fucking weird and woke.
I think
The only reason that it might work out is if they make fun of it. If they make fun of it, and then by the end of it, the kid's like, okay, I'm not non-binary anymore.
Well, that seems like something Lois would not accept because
I
she's
feel- yes.
so much into be yourself, and nothing says you're not being yourself than trying to identify as something else. And even
Also,
if you argue
how?
with like, oh, it's my true self, it's like, no, you're in denial of your true self because when you look in the mirror, that's your true self, and you have to own it and you have to make it yourself. Because again, all the stuff that she did to torture those kids to teach them the right lessons were
Mhm.
brilliant.
Yeah, it was. I mean, John, did you ever watch this show?
Not really. No, I might have seen
the-
like an episode at one point, but that was about it. So
Oh, dude, I highly recommend. Like, I actually highly recommend this show. Bryan Cranston is fantastic, phenomenal in this
He did
show.
anything that show asked of him.
And it was amazing. Like, I mean, it was so funny. My husband to this day won't watch Breaking Bad because he doesn't want the memory of Hal to
see,
to
I
go
think I'm
away.
in reverse. Like I don't want Walter White to be messed up for me. So it's like
That's so funny. Yeah,
Bryan Cranston.
that's so funny. Yeah, he's the opposite. He's like, I don't ever want to see like Hal as somebody else, like some fucked up guy. And
Well,
I'm
you
like,
can
that's
always
true.
show him the alternate ending to Breaking Bad, where Hal wakes up from a dream, turning to Lois and said, "I used to be a meth dealer and manufacturer," and it's basically
Is that
an
a
homage.
thing?
Yeah, it's a real
It's
thing,
a skit they
and
do?
it's an homage to Newhart because at the end of Newhart, it was him waking up next to his old wife from his previous show, talking about his bed and breakfast adventures.
No way. I didn't know that was a thing. Where do I
Yep.
find this?
I think it's like Malcolm in the Middle, Breaking Bad alternate ending.
Like
skit.
I can look it up on YouTube.
Oh yeah, it's on YouTube.
Oh my god, that's so funny. I will show him that. He refuses to watch Breaking Bad. He's like, I will not watch Breaking Bad ever because I don't want to ruin Hal.
So good.
I know, it's insane to me. I'm like, I can't believe like you won't watch it, and he just won't do it.
So here's the other questions. The older brother there in that picture, is that Jamie, I think?
Yeah, no, this one's Reese, and then the other one's Malcolm.
Reese.
Reese
See,
is
I could buy it if Reese pretended to be trans or non-binary to get a chick.
That would be funny. That would be funny because okay, so John, for you, just in case you don't know, Reese was like the troublemaker, and he was like the crazy kid. He had an older brother that was played by
the one that didn't get arrested, named Francis.
Oh, okay. I think I know who
Yes.
that guy is. Yeah.
and that's Danny Masterson's brother.
Oh wow.
In real life. That guy's all sorts of fucked up too. I don't think he's coming back for this show, as far as I know, for the reboot. I don't think he's coming back. But yeah, so he had an older brother that was he was more of a troublemaker. I actually love what they did with his character. Like he was one of my favorite characters in the show Francis.
Yeah.
Because like when he went when they sent him to the boonies, like when he was like in the what's it called, the winter, where did
He
he
was sent to a
go?
military academy.
No, but after that, like
Oh,
where he
God.
met his wife.
Yeah, he's like sent to like somewhere in northern Canada or something.
Yeah, like like in northern Canada, and then he meets that native girl and he
Falls in love and
marries
is trying to
her.
earn their respect. And yeah,
Yeah, oh my god, it's so good.
I
And then
think
like
my
the
brother
fucking
used to watch this show because some of the stuff seems a little familiar to me.
the German couple that was like running the inn. Oh, and they took them in. It was so good. It was such a good show. DL, thanks for the $1.99. Everything modern Disney touches turns to shit. This is true. This is very, very
well, it's
true.
been actually hasn't been modern Disney, it's Disney in general, with very few exceptions. Like every franchise that they buy, they have tanked. And it's all the public domain stuff that they play around with that they've been able to succeed. So Little Mermaid, Lion King to a degree, Snow White, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, Pinocchio. If there's public domain, Disney seems to be doing okay with it. But if it's an IP that they buy from another creator to take on their own, they completely drill it into the
They
ground.
shit the bed, yeah, for sure. What's up, Yuki? Sorry, my cat just came out.
I was
Thank you,
curious
Russell.
about Disney Plus in terms of how they were doing, but apparently they turned a profit in Q4 of 2024.
Yes, they did. They lost subscribers, but they also increased prices.
Okay.
So
They're gonna make money too again with Daredevil. I
for a
think they're
brief
gonna
sale, yeah.
they're probably gonna make pretty good money with that. Russell Hall for 5 says, "Look at it this way: if they come out of if they come out as trans, Lois can't yell at them anymore." Frankly, I think the whole family should go trans, including Hal.
If that's
my
the
God.
gimmick, it's like the
That
only
would
way
be
they
funny.
don't get Lois to yell at them or discipline them or nag them is to do that, and it's all like a bosom buddy type of sketch.
Because she wanted a daughter the whole time.
Because
That
she's
would be
always
kind of
wanted a
funny.
daughter, yeah.
That would be kind of funny. That's the
Well,
only way. That would be
see,
like, all right.
It depends on the showrunner. Like I'll bring this up again, and for those of you out there who followed me for a while, you probably know where I'm going with this. So there's a show on Disney Plus called Turner and Hooch, and it was a spiritual sequel to the original Tom Hanks film. Disney wanted to have a dynamic where the main character's partner was a woman, of various ethnicity, and that they're going to be partners. And then the showrunner was Matt Nix, who did Burn Notice. Matt Nix said, "Okay, yeah, sure, I'll give you your buddy cop comedy with man and female partner." But he then started to troll Disney. Said, "What if I made the female partner pregnant?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, that's great. Go ahead and do it." He's like, "Okay, great." So we now have these two characters. They're U.S. Marshals. There's the son of Tom Hanks's character. There's his partner who is a pregnant woman, and he deliberately made her 7 to 8 months pregnant.
I have to be right back. My cat.
Sure, no problem. But the whole joke was that he was going to use the pregnancy to get the character out of the field and behind a desk so that he could pair him up with the guy that he wanted him to be the partner in the first place, which is like the surfer dude for like an odd couple type of dynamic. And he did it in the most justifiable way by putting the pregnant female partner into dangerous situations and then having the institution around saying, "You're pregnant. You shouldn't be in the field. You need to be a mom and take care of your kid. So we're putting you on desk duty." And it completely steered the show in the right direction. And it was way better as a result, but it was a great mockery of what Disney was trying to impose onto a show, and a showrunner taking that and then turning it on its head to actually deliver something of quality. The sad part is that it debuted at a time when Disney Plus was losing subscribers because of all the botched up other shows that they were doing. So nobody was watching it, but it was a very sweet and endearing, noble type of show about a man who then gets the dog as also his partner and live in and going through all the same problems of messiness with it as well. It did have some production issues that were akin to a show that came out in the early 2000s as opposed to a 2020 show. But it had the love story about this guy falling in love with his dog as his best friend and pet and trusted companion, solving these mysteries with him. And then it even goes one further. They introduced 3 screw-up characters that physically represent the checkbox list of DEI, and they explain why they're pathetic. and the entire team is just trying to teach them to use the skills that they have and develop new skills so that they actually can meet the duties required. But it's subtly mocking DEI and why you don't hire these types of pathetic people to be U.S. Marshals, because they're
That's
screwing up
funny.
all the time. And he's playing it for comedy because now the main character is like, I got to deal with these 3 idiots on the same time I'm trying to hunt down this guy that's trying to assassinate the person we have in witness protection. And you're like, it's a great commentary on how stupid DEI is. And he does, and Matt Nix does it such a way that you really appreciate it. But he also doesn't make you hate the DEI type characters, because he makes them all very much underdogs. He doesn't make them girl bosses or huge, superior people. He's like, these are screw ups. And he's saying even screw ups have the potential to do something right once in a while. And when they do, you should be encouraging that. And he's actually like giving you great grounds of saying, yeah, you can have these types of characters in there, but you don't put them at the top of the list. You make them the underdogs, so we empathize with them and we want to see them succeed. And then you give us a couple of wins here and there in between their failures so that we actually appreciate them, even though you have clearly an overweight white lesbian chick with a bleached blonde hair crew cut who you're like wondering, are you sure you're a woman? I don't know. And it works. And if you can find the show, because unfortunately it was completely purged from Disney Plus, but if you can find the show and start watching it and realize that it's actually a troll job against the Disney mandate of things, you'll actually absolutely.
What's this show called again?
It's called Turner and Hooch.
Turner and Hooch. You told me about this before.
Yeah. And it's also got a subplot mystery because someone kills Tom Hanks' character and the son and the daughter are like, we're going to find this murderer. We're going to find the guy that killed our dad, Tom Hanks. And it's not disrespecting the original movie either. It's like saying, no, he was a great man. He died a great man, loved his grandkids, loved his kids, loved his job. And then some bad guy managed to get one up on him. And now it's like, well, we got to bring that guy to justice too.
Oh my God. Speaking of Tom Hanks, he did like a really cringe sketch for SNL with the racist MAGA guy that wouldn't touch black people.
Didn't he already do that sketch before?
Oh, you're talking about the Black Jeopardy contestant?
Yeah. Well, he's the white one, but he's
he's the white one who says all the same things that the black people say as well with regards to like conspiracies and stuff.
I guess, but he was like, I don't want to touch black people or something. It was like a whole.
No. The gimmick to that sketch is Kenan Thompson gets so excited and happy with the Tom Hanks character that he always rushes at him, and it scares Tom Hanks because you have a big black guy rushing at him.
Oh,
because that's the joke, right? Because in that entire sketch, at least in the original one I remember, he doesn't care that he's with black people or anything of that nature. He's just answering the questions and he's perfectly fine. But then Kenan gets so excited that the white guy sees to empathize and understand the struggles of the black people within the context of the sketch that he just wants to give him a handshake or a hug. And because he comes at him so fast, so dramatically, it scares him for a minute. And then he goes all resistant. He's like, oh, okay. And then he goes and shakes the hand and whatever. And then it goes back to the sketch. That's the branding of it. It's making fun of like I can see it being interpreted as racist, but it's really like anyone
it definitely like if you watch the sketch, you're like, oh God, this looks so cringe. Like it just looks
for the
so
new.
bad.
I haven't seen the new one. I've only seen the old one because I'm like I think of it like this way: if you're just on the street and some big guy that you don't know comes rushing at you, like what are you gonna do? Right?
You gotta watch the new one. The new one is so cringe. Like I was like, oh my God, this is so cringe.
Because I like that original one a lot. That was funny.
That one sounds funny. This one was not funny.
Oh no, there's this one thing where like Kenan Thompson says there's some sort of question with regards to like a phone call, and Tom Hanks's answer is like, nope, that's how they get you. And Kenan's like, that's right, that is how they get you.
No, this was not as funny.
Okay.
Thank you, Russell Hall for 5 says, imagine Reese suddenly realizing that he can get away with anything just by putting on a dress and makeup. He might even seal the deal and chop it off. You know, that's a good point. Reese would do that. I feel like Reese would do that. Now, I got curious. So I actually like Googled it and the AI gave me some answers. So first of all, the Linwood Boomer, which is the original showrunner, is running the show. Script doctor. So you were asking who is the showrunner. It's the original showrunner. It's coming back for 4 episodes, and the episodes will feature the return of the original stars, which is basically all of them except for, I believe, Francis.
Master
Yeah, Malcolm and his daughter. So Malcolm has a daughter now. are pulled into a family chaos when Hal and Lois demand his presence for their 40th wedding anniversary party. Boomer and the creative team are expected to bring back laughs, pranks, and mayhems and fans love from the original series. They will also include a few surprises that remind us why the show is timeless. Now, it could be that the non-binary person is the daughter. That could be
Maybe.
possible.
I'm surprised it's only the 40th anniversary. I thought it would have been close to like 50, given the fact that Francis was like, what, 18 when the show started?
Mm-hmm. It's their
And
40th
they were
wedding
married,
anniversary, though.
yeah, and they were married 2 or 3 years before that. So that would put them like 21 years. And the show's been off the air for like 18, 19 years.
Yeah, I guess so. It would be maybe 45 years.
45 seems more plausible, especially given the age of like what's her name who played Lois in Bryan Cranston, Jane Kaczmarek and Bryan Cranston.
So there we go. That was that's some of the details of the that the AI provided for us.
Will this showrunner be as clever as Matt Nix and pull a fast one on Disney?
I don't know. Maybe. He's good. I mean, I really like the original one, so I guess we'll find out. Oh, look at this. Hold on. There's like an interview with OG Malcolm.
Frankie Muniz. I wonder if his ears have grown since then, since we last seen him.
This.
Wasn't he racing cars or something?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was. I think he was.
He was a racist. Yeah.
He was a racist.
Did he tie a noose on any other fellow racers? Like, you remember that whole thing with what was his name, Bubba?
I mean, the noose on the garage door, which like anyone who had a garage door always had because you don't want the braid rope.
That was like, that's just embarrassing. Well, that was like right after the Jussie Smollett thing too, I think.
That was like almost as bad as Sarah Silverman and there's swastikas everywhere, and it was like the fucking like the signs for the road, like the
road signs, yeah.
the road signs or whatever, like the construction signs.
Oops.
See everybody and
see what
the ideas that they've come up with. The possibilities are endless of what Malcolm and his family could be up to. Congratulations on Renner.
Do you guys think that Malcolm's gonna like actually have been successful? Like, do you think like he's gonna be some sort of like
executive or something?
Yeah, like he made something out of his life. I feel like I don't know if they're gonna let him have that happy ending that he had like a good life.
Well, I mean, I think the gimmick would be Malcolm does have a good life until his parents get involved.
I feel like he's actually like something, like a politician or like somebody. Like he's like a somebody.
Like anything that he does good, it's like his parents throw a wrench in it because their drama screws up the balance that he works so hard to get.
Yeah, because like they're so crazy that that would be funny.
Thank you.
It's really exciting. How did it feel to get back to a feature after 7 years?
It's been maybe even longer. I'm trying to think the last one I did, but the timing worked out perfect.
My God, he still sounds and looks the same. Like this guy has such a baby face.
He does
exactly the same as
Wow.
Malcolm.
I'm surprised he's such a good listener with ears that small.
Oh my God. It's funny.
And I knew I wanted to be a part of it.
He looks
Renner,
exactly the same.
I'm detecting a network breach. A copy of our code
What
is
the
being
hell is this?
downloaded. They are stealing your creation, taking what is yours.
Renner.
Defend what is yours. Protect your code. Remember, I am your code.
Why are you so unclean?
Your nails.
What is this?
Some sort of
Some
indie
sort of
film.
movie?
Yeah.
I thought he was going to be talking about Malcolm.
Seen that year, so it worked out in between races, but it was a
there you go.
a
He's talking
really
about his
interesting
races.
experience because it's such a dark role and such a different role that I've really never gotten to play before, and kind of diving into it, it took me into an interesting place. Right, I'm not necessarily like a method actor in any way, shape, or form. Like I hear stories of people being like they wear the cowboy boots, the whole whatever have a talking accent
for
right?
6
Yeah,
months.
I show up and I do it and I'm me right as soon as they say cut. And but this movie, and if you've seen it, it'd be hard to understand why, but I had a hard time differentiating like real emotions that I was having in my real life versus what was happening on screen, because I really just wanted to do the best job possible, and
My God,
I'm
he's
very happy
such
how
a
it turned out.
Does it like
face.
dredge stuff up when you're?
Well, it was weird. Even the scenario of, where we were filming, I was staying, the place I was staying, my family went back home, and I'd be on set all day in this crazy head.
Okay, I'm over it. You didn't say anything about Malcolm. Thank you, DL, for $1.99. Says Malcolm was supposed to become president. He was supposed to become something. I hope he doesn't. I hope they do it justice though. Like he actually ends up being like, somebody smart and good, and not like Hunter Biden or something. Where it's like his life is like a like a fucking complete mess.
That's the TV show that we need, is a Hunter Biden TV show. Like script, you got to shop this around, because like
on
seriously,
Disney Plus,
one season, and it's like a comedy. It's kind of maybe in the style of Veep a little bit, but maybe a little bit more serious. But it's basically a character like Hunter Biden who has a drug problem. His dad has Alzheimer's or he's not all there. And then you got the upcoming election. You've got the vice president vying for power. Like it's just a perfect concoction of like a great TV show.
Like Shameless meets Veep meets The West Wing.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. That'll do it.
Kind of sounds good.
Yeah. No, I think that'd be funny. Yeah. You call it Hunter.
And he's like snorting coke, like he's snorting coke in the White House, and like in between, and then too, when everything's like really going downhill, he's permitted in the meetings. I mean, it's really just.
I think it'd be funny if him and the vice president to his dad started to have like road trips together.
And he wanted to like bang his brother's wife the whole time, like ever since.
Hey, let's go down to the border. Yeah, you're supposed to be protecting it anyways. Okay. And then they go to the wrong border.
Oh my God.
Like, why is it so cold in Mexico? I don't know. Because it's Kamala.
So evil.
They're stoned. They're just absolutely stoned on them.
Secret Service lost track of them. They're trying to find them.
Yeah.
Oh my God. There was also this other topic that I was going to get into, but then it's getting late now, so I'm not going to. But you know what? Just real quick, just so I can get Script Doctor, because Script Doctor, I was going to ask you to like come and watch or do a review with me for Reacher season 3.
Oh yeah.
But now it's like Alan Richson, man. Like every time he just opens his mouth, and I'm like, bro, just please, just shut the fuck up.
Well, I understand why people get upset with him for a couple of reasons. The first one is that even though he says weird stuff, he actually says them fueled by very strong morals of what's right and wrong. The problem is that he doesn't always get informed with regards to certain public figures. Like he's not fully aware of what's going on with Trump, so that's why he doesn't like him and why he hates him. However, Alan is actually a huge advocate for getting rid of the perverts within the Catholic Church because of all the abuse allegations and how the church has been hiding them and moving them around. He doesn't like that. He's a big defender of children from predators.
Well, that's good.
That's how his moral standing is from, because he was also an actor who was started as a model, and he had some people try to come after him sexually. And because he was fortunately a big muscular guy, he was able to defend himself. And then he also started a community where he was actually defending female models at the time because he didn't like them being abused as well. Like he's a very moral Christian person, but he also is very judgmental against Christians that he finds as hypocrites. And there's a lot of problems. He's also bipolar, and he attempted to commit suicide at one point, but it failed. And then he realized that he couldn't do that to his family. And so he's been getting a lot of work
that he had bipolar disease.
I've run across him a few times. We've exchanged some nods, and we have some shared friends. And he's the thing is that he is in a bubble, and that is skewing his perspective, because I'm pretty sure if you got him out of that bubble and you showed him like, oh, these allegations against the president, they are highly suspect and they're not here, and he would take the time to listen to that. I know that for him because I've seen him make mistakes and then be corrected. And he's like, oh, I'm such a fool. Please forgive me. I'm sorry about that. We also share a friend that happens to know Matt Gaetz and went to school with him. Matt Gaetz
Well, that's
is
what
always
he says. He says that he went to school with him and he's a motherfucker.
well
He's like,
before
we're
I heard
adversaries.
before I first heard of Matt Gaetz before he even got into politics as what was considered at the time the youngest dirty old man you'd ever meet.
Ugh.
Yes, that's how he was
Kinda
described.
gross.
And then when I saw him on C-SPAN, I had to actually call up my friend and be like, you know that guy you kept talking about? You showed those like weird pictures on Facebook back in the day. I think I'm seeing him in Congress or the Senate or something. And he's like, oh yeah, he got elected. I'm like, that's the same guy. He's like, yep, that's the same guy. I'm like, oh God, he would go into politics, wouldn't he? and listen, I don't know all the allegations about Matt Gaetz. I just do know that he does behave in ways that would be unbecoming of a statesman, at least, from the perspective of what a statesman should be. We all have seen the stories of various scandals with women and whatnot from other politicians of other parties, independent, Republican, Democrat, what have you. But yeah, I don't begrudge him calling Gaetz that, considering the fact that some of my other friends that have grown up with him refer to him the same way.
I just really wish that he would stop talking about politics, just generally speaking. Like, because
unfortunately, the journalists love baiting him out with that. Like the Hollywood Reporter got him good. It looks like Variety got him good here. Knows how to push his buttons. And remember, he's bipolar. So all you have to do is just hit the right thing and you trigger that.
Yeah, and then he'll get triggered and then say stupid shit.
But
well, I am looking forward to Reacher season 3, though, because I did like Reacher, just generally speaking. Although I didn't think season 2 was as good as season 1, but
season 2 had too many supporting characters working with him. I want to get him back to solo again. But yeah, like, listen, I see Alan Richardson puts his foot in his mouth a lot when it comes to like politics and stuff. But how often are you going to find an actor like him who's literally wants to be on the front line to defend kids in an industry that's toxic, and also in a religion that's toxic?
Good point.
You're not. You have to look for see the forest for the trees with him in that part. He is an outlier. He also comes from like the Florida area, so he knows that demographic well, and he remembers it. And he was living in the back of a truck for years before he got his big break with I think it was Allstate or whatever it was.
I thought he was Aquaman and
Aquaman and Smallville, and then he got a television series where he played like a frat guy.
Okay.
For like 4 or 5 seasons, and he was really funny in that. Like he did some pretty crazy stuff.
Okay.
But like he knows the harder nature of certain stuff here. I don't know if he's gone full Hollywood yet because he's on an MGM Amazon streaming series, he is in that tier of, well, you're an actor, but you're not a real actor. And he also worked for Angel Studios. He was in a movie with Hilary Swank.
I saw that
movie. Great movie. And I mean, again, that's to his moral character. He's doing those types of stories because he sees value in them.
That movie was like really sad.
It was sad, but it was based off of a true story. And I mean, the resolution to it was like a tearjerker because you're so happy that the town rallied together to help this guy and his kid, right? So
yeah. John, what was this thing that you sent me? Is this this next to your place? Like what is
No,
this?
but it's in the state that I live in.
This was nuts.
Yeah, so I guess I think it was a water main had burst and caused the flooding, and then it froze. So
that's fucking nuts. Like, how are these people gonna get their cars out?
I think those cars might be ruined. I don't know. I don't know too much about cars, but yeah, that can't be good.
This is insane. Like I thought it was AI at first when you sent me this. I was like, what
no, I was so shocked, and it was like right after I shared the link for the stream, and I was like,
yeah,
I'll send you
the
this.
chassis to all those cars are shot now. They're done.
Yeah.
So, you probably could save the upholstery inside if you're lucky.
Right. Maybe the radios. I don't even know if I don't know. Do people steal radios anymore?
I mean, actually, it's really complicated now with the futuristic dashboards because they're all like integrated in their touch screens, and you can see the touch screen, but you can't. I don't know about the radio because it's part of the touchscreen iPad or whatever tablet that's in there.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's wild. Right. How could we ever forget Russell Hall? Let's not forget about Rissen's hit song Mojito. This is true. One of the best songs I've ever heard in my life, by far. Bar none.
So did that's a flash freeze that I guess happened overnight after the water main broke, because That's insane that the water would get that high and not a single person would be like, we got to move that car.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I think too.
Yeah, I don't even all the flooding in Detroit, Michigan, frozen night before last.
Oh,
I'm
here's
just
another.
scrolling. Oh,
Yeah,
do you
here's
find something?
another video. No,
Okay.
like there's another video like right below it as a comment. Hold on, let me share this. Rescuers saved dog from this.
Okay, so a ruptured water pipe has left hundreds stranded in their homes as icy floodwaters grip the city. Temps have plummeted to -7 Celsius, freezing cars solid.
Yep.
That's crazy. This is I don't know if this is the same place.
For those wondering, I
Probably
think
not.
-7 is like what, like 12 Fahrenheit for you guys?
Probably. It's like it says it's 14 here right now. So
yeah.
There's
chilly.
another.
el camino, loco. Puta madre, ese está perro, señores.
They're swearing in Mexican.
Like, what is
In
this?
Spanish. They were like, puta madre, like motherfucker.
I mean, yeah, you know what's funny is that you'd expect to see something like that in Canada on a really bad day.
Right?
Not so much in Detroit, as even though it's very close to Canada.
Wait, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's right next door. Oh, you're sharing this? What is
Yeah. So here's a little bit more of the helicopter view. Man, this
That
is
one guy left his lights on. He's really screwed.
Oh
this
my
is the amount of
God.
damage that this is gonna do is horrendous.
This is bad.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Those rubber garbage bins will be fine once.
They'll be okay.
That's like the only thing.
Dang, man, this is incredible. Like I didn't realize how extensive it was.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know what's funny? If this was like in like
Oh my God, they're like going with the. Like,
if this
freaking
was in
boat.
like say Toronto or Calgary or Winnipeg, the first thing the local would be like, okay, get out the crowbar and sledgehammer, let's go, and just start chipping away.
Right. Dude, script doctor, what the fuck about that plane that flipped?
Yeah, it's like they hit black ice and then just completely toppled over because the landing looked normal and then all of a sudden it just tilted.
It did. I think it was the high winds and black ice. I think
High
it like
wind, black ice, maybe even a frozen rudder, because it was funny when I was flying out to LA last year, they had to de-ice the wings for a good 2 hours because it was that cold. And then, yeah, it was a big issue out there. And then when we came back, as soon as we landed, me and Paul Chata looked outside and we saw that the crew was actually going to de-ice the wings again, but we'd only been on the ground for maybe about 30 minutes. So it was like really freezing out there. And I'm wondering, could that have been the case there? Wherever that flight came from, as soon as they came in and they were on approach, like it just flash froze and screwed up the rudders and black ice on the tarmac
fucking
and
nuts.
everything. But it's
I
a
mean,
miracle that nobody was
it was
killed.
a miracle. And like, I mean, that whole thing was fucking crazy, but it was definitely a miracle.
Yeah, and I think Delta's giving like 30 grand payouts to all the survivors.
Damn.
I mean, this is actually kind of like a no fault issue because you can't prove the error yet. Because when you see the visual plane, everything seems to be going as normal with the landing and approach, and then all of a sudden it just tilts to the right and then flips over, and you're like, how the hell did that happen?
I really think it was like some sort of like a gust of wind that hit it at a really bad time as it was landing, and then it was like ice, because when you looked at the video, the entire place was ice, and I was like, don't they have like heated runways like they do in Vancouver? And apparently they don't.
No, because we have so over at the Pearson International Airport, they have a bunch of like tractors and stuff to kind of break up the ice, and they go pretty quick. But the holiday weekend, we got massive snow. And the worst part is our new mayor did not institute proper plowing for the holiday Monday, because even though it was family day, there were still a lot of facilities open, and you kind of have to clear the roads and the parks and stuff for that. And I happen to know one of the crew that's supposed to do that because he's my neighbor across the street. And he was shocked that he wasn't requested to come in because every holiday when there's weather, he always was working with the previous administration. And now he was not. And he was very perplexed by that. And he didn't have the truck that his plow in his driveway because you go to the city office there and then pick it up from the contractor and then drive it out. So he was ready to go do it himself, but couldn't he couldn't drive his regular truck out on the street because there's so much snow everywhere.
There it is.
Man, can you imagine if you're on that plane and that starts? You're probably thinking like, "Oh man, this is it."
Yeah,
this is it.
This is a nightmare.
Especially
hearing
about like all these other plane crashes going on lately.
Yeah, like this one here, it looks like one of the landing gear gave out right as they came down too. Because
once you're starting to flip upside down, and man,
I can't believe that they survived.
Well, I think it's fortunate to the fact that when a plane is on approach, they almost have no fuel left in the tank, so there's not much room for ignition.
Right.
And then the other part too is the maintenance crew the emergency crew was on that scene seconds after this video ends to put everything out. So you have to give props to the people there that did their job, and they didn't stop dousing it until everyone was out, and even afterwards, because they had no idea what was going to happen for there. But I'm just so happy that no one died from that.
They're saying like apparently this is like some DEI thing because Delta is obsessed with like having like women pilots or something like that.
I mean,
I don't necessarily think
it's been verified.
Pilots is a bad thing because women can be all right pilots, I think.
I mean, I know a few
very
competent women that are pilots. I mean, it's the skill level. It depends. Like, did I hire people that are unqualified because they fit that and said maybe we can train them, and then that's the case? I'd rather find out. Like my second eldest godson is an aeronautical engineer, and he does repairs on commercial flights, and he doesn't know what the heck happened from this. So I'd rather investigate the plane first, and then figure out if it was actually pilot error, because everything on approach looked fine. Like I didn't see it wasn't wobbling and they weren't.
No, everything seemed fine too. Like we just saw it. Everything seemed fine until it wasn't fine. But this is what I'm talking about. That I just think that this had something to do with it. Like the ice. I mean, look at how much ice and fucking snow was on the runway.
You can't even see the landing lights, and usually you can see those still during the day.
That's wild, man. I still can't believe that they all survived. Just like putting out the fires.
They're just keeping it suppressed because they have no idea if there's going to be any reignition of what's left of the fuel.
That must have been a nightmare, like travel day for that entire area, because like all the planes above have to be like rerouted to like nearby airports and stuff.
Well, probably going to Billy Bishop or swinging around to to another runway, because Pearson Airport is huge for an airport.
Oh, okay. So they probably just
like it's comparable to LAX and to JFK, and like, well, actually, I think it's bigger than JFK. So I mean, it's a huge thing. It's actually like it's bigger than most towns.
Oh wow!
Because Pearson, they claim it's in Toronto, but it's not. It's actually like on the border of Toronto and more in Mississauga, more in the northwest of it.
Wow.
Can you imagine too? Like you survive that, and you're like, "Oh, thank God!" And then you get a $30,000 payout too. On
are you gonna get on a plane again? That's the question. Because I don't think I would ever get on a plane again after that.
The more I'm seeing all these plane crashes, it's only fortified my stance and position and not flying
to like not fly.
Yeah,
I'm never gonna meet you, John. This is gonna suck because I'm never coming to Michigan.
You don't want to come to this lovely place where things freeze.
Maybe we can meet in Toronto because you can drive it. You can drive to Toronto.
Actually, it's about 4.5 hour, 5 hour drive.
So then maybe one day I'll go to Toronto. And I'll be like, get to Toronto. I don't care how you fucking drive there, fly there, whatever. Then you have to drive down to Toronto, and then we
just don't fly Delta You know, just I think some of
I've
these
flown Spirit before, and
Oh no.
you could
that's
try
what I
WestJet.
hear. Like that's the worst. So
Don't do that. Yeah, like it's almost as bad as what was it? What was the one I flew? God, Sunwest or Sunbeam.
are
or
any
whatever.
of them really that great though? Unless you're flying like first class.
Even I've flown a couple of places first class where I thought first class was horrible.
Yeah.
Like sure you got more room, but it's really like it's not.
They're okay. Like I mean, like I like JetBlue. Like I've always thought JetBlue was really nice flights.
Yeah.
There's like certain. I mean, WestJet's okay. They're not terrible. Air Canada's used to be good. Now it's not
Air
great.
Canada is a mixed bag, and that says
Yeah,
more to
exactly.
people that fly Air Canada than the actual Air Canada itself.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, when it comes to like American Airlines, like American Airlines was okay, but I really like JetBlue. JetBlue was good. United used to be good. They're terrible now.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of good ones that are terrible. Last topic of the night before we call it, and it's gonna be a short one because we're not gonna spend time on this one. I wasn't even gonna talk about this because I think that those whores, and these chicks are whores, that slept, like one of them slept with 100 dudes, the other ones slept with like 1,000 dudes. Apparently they're like pregnant now. I don't know. It's like a whole thing. I wasn't even going to talk about this, but the only reason I'm talking about it is because Maury made a fucking joke. He said, "I'm sitting this one out," and I think that's fucking hilarious.
Well, 1,000 paternity tests. That's whew. Or what is it? 1,057 in under 24 hours.
Yeah,
My God.
1,057.
Those are less than Minutemen that she nailed.
Apparently, I didn't take
I mean,
that
is it
long.
just like if in and out, like how in the world is that even possible?
With regards to like timing, yeah, like
you get one thrust and you're.
I guess there were one thrust men because I mean it only counts when one person of the party gets to climax in order for it to count as proper. You've slept with a person.
Does it? As long as it goes in, right? I mean, technically, that's the only way.
Like,
That's the only
no.
way, like this, that she could do that, right?
It would have to count.
That's the only way.
I mean, what was it like on a
They're
conveyor
not
and she just
climaxing.
squatted? Like
There's no way. There's no way these guys are. It's like the other chick who.
They
Because
get
this isn't the same one, right?
I don't know.
Because like the other chick, she was saying that it was like 2 minutes in, and she felt bad about telling the guy that was enough.
Because she was giving them like 2 to 3 minutes or something, but then they advertised that they could have 5 minutes or something, and she was like, and the guy was like, "Well, I've only had 2 to 3 minutes."
Like,
so she did it one-on-one as
like
a group.
How sad, man, to be like one of the to be anybody in that situation for that matter, but like to be one of those guys, like, oh my
Dude,
God.
did you hear about the one guy that his mom showed up because she found out he was doing it? So she showed up to the lineup and took him out, was like, "Get the fuck out of this line."
He's gonna thank his mom someday.
Well, I mean,
Right?
especially because he's not paying child support.
100%. I mean, I don't think they're ever gonna find the dad. Like, first of all, Mari's out.
They might never find some of those men. They might have fell in and never came back. They might have
Like
fallen
the
to the
void.
void. The void, yeah.
Maybe.
There might be
So
some
he's in the
disappearance.
void, seeing their child gestate right before their eyes.
Yeah.
It's the never-ending cave.
There's it's like a dark room in there.
So that's the new entrance to the land of the lost, huh?
It's like, it's like the the entrance, like to the journey to the center of the earth. Oh my God, we're all terrible people.
Faint voices can be heard at times. Help!
The Twilight.
It's
the
like Get
entrance.
Out. What was it, like the sunken place?
Yeah.
Like the guy like falling.
It's like La Brea. Remember that show La Brea? You fall back in time to the past.
I don't know. I never heard of it.
Oh God, but short-lived.
No, yeah, I haven't heard. I don't
This
think I've
is
heard
like
of that either.
So this is like a really peculiar gimmick to try and get more followers, I guess, on the OnlyFans account. And you know.
Well, that was the most fucked up part is that OnlyFans came out, took out the video,
Most
and was like,
up. Yeah, quite.
it was like,
Mm.
we won't, yeah. But it was though, because imagine doing all this to put it on your OnlyFans, and then OnlyFans is like, we don't, no, get this off of our platform.
It's so bad. OnlyFans
It's
is
like,
saying we
no.
can't do this.
Yeah,
Like
because they
that-
couldn't verify the ages of the dudes that she slept with. So they were like, nah, we can't verify the ages, so you're out. Russell Hall is chiming in, of course, for $5, says, is there actual confirmation that she really did screw over 1K men in a day? Is there an actual count, or are we just taking the whore's word for it? Well, I mean, I'm taking the whore's word for it because she had like some pictures with guys holding up signs with the number or whatever.
Oh God!
But it could have only been 5 guys, and then they could have just been like, holding up the signs that says like 500 or whatever. I don't know, but it could have just been like, they're just holding up pieces of number. Though there was this other image that I saw where she was walking around the room and there was like hundreds of used condoms everywhere. And I was like,
Ugh.
that's fucked up. Like,
Ugh.
I don't know how many.
Who was the sponsor of those condoms? Like, they must have made a lot of money.
I don't know.
Record sales for the day.
So
Look at Mari's description to the right. CEO of You Are Not the Father.
Oh my God, that is so funny. You are not the father.
I wonder if it's not a verified account. I wonder if that's really him. Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Maybe
Probably
it's not.
him.
I don't know. Might be. It's got like 100,000 followers.
Aren't they supposed to be like a parody flag in the name in order to confirm it? Or
Yeah. Let's see. It's
You would think.
Linktree. It goes right to the Mari show. Well, I mean, like for Mari.
I mean,
he's been around since 2008 too, so that's like the dawn of Twitter.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
No, it probably very
Seems
well.
like it's the right one. It just doesn't have a check mark, which is kind of shocking for Mari.
Johnny Chung will step in and be like, I'll do it.
Well, yeah. When's the last tweet before this one?
Let me announce the results of election 2024.
I think this is parody.
You think so?
Well, the election is like watching an episode of Maury, waiting to see who the father is the other tweet.
There's
I don't know. Maybe
I think it might be his legit account.
Might be one of his accounts.
He might have a personal account, but this is like the Maury show,
right?
Too. Was it Maury Povich or?
Yeah, that's his name. I don't know. I think it's his account. It got some interesting photos on there. This is funny. It's like Mari's that.
He's like the modern. I don't know. Maybe not Jerry Springer, but
no,
he's kind of.
He and them were kind of side by side in the '90s when they were getting their talk shows on.
That's true. Yeah.
I always like Maury better than Jerry Springer.
Oh yeah, Jerry Springer was all bread and circus show.
Yeah,
I knew writers that used to work for that show, coming up with
like
stuff
for Jerry.
Coming up with stuff. Going to various strip clubs to get women to come on and pretend to be actors or pretend to be characters with drama and stuff. And yeah,
that's not too shocking.
It's like,
damn, Russell, that's mean. He says for $5, if she really did take that Benny D's in one day, she probably looks like Ashley Sinclair down there now. Damn, Russell. Wow. Ouch. I guess he really did watch Ashley Sinclair porn. The Big Three. I never watched this guy's show.
Steve Wilkos? I can't remember.
Isn't this guy
used to be Jerry's bodyguard?
Springer? Yeah. I didn't know he got his own show.
People like him.
Yeah. I think he took over. Yeah, he kind of took over for Jerry.
Oh, okay. I just never paid attention after Jerry Springer. All right. Thank you, gentlemen, for a lovely show. It's been very nice. Like, not great topic, and talking about horrors, but hey, horrors need their attention as well. What are you gonna do? Russell for 2 says, no, I just saw the after results. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, Russell, you're the best. Thanks for doing that research, man, for the show. I really appreciate it. Really, just put it up to that next level. Script Doctor, thank you for being here tonight. Please tell everyone where they can find you and what you got coming up next.
Okay. Well, what's coming up next is I had an interview with colleague and director Alejandro Montoya Marin. He's got a new movie coming out. We don't know what the exact release date is, but I interviewed him about that. I'm trying to get YouTube to let me drop it properly.
Ooh.
Keeps on screwing up with my premieres. So be on the lookout for that on my channel. Hopefully I can get it out tomorrow. If not, I'll try and do it earlier next week. And then I've got a Saturday show, Scripts on Saturdays, where me and a co-host review a screenplay that's currently circulating around Hollywood. In this week's screenplay, which is the last week of February, which is last week of our romantic screenplay month, we have the screenplay called It's Not You, It's Me. So we're going to go see if that is a romantic comedy or a drama or a nightmare. So come check us out 7 p.m. Eastern on my channel, scriptdoctor.com. YouTube.com/scriptdoctor.
Script Doctor, did you watch by any chance the new Reese Witherspoon, Will Ferrell movie?
No, that's slipped out of my radar. I want to see
There's
Reese
a new-
Witherspoon again.
Is it on
There's
Prime?
a new Reese
Netflix?
Witherspoon movie, and I always watch Reese Witherspoon movies, but it hasn't gotten like great reviews. It's called You're Cordially Invited.
Oh, I know Charlize Theron just did an action movie called Back to Action or Back in Action.
Oh,
yeah. I think
no,
it's
that's
streaming.
no. You're talking about not Charlize.
Or is it
you're
Cameron
talking
Diaz?
about Cameron Diaz.
Right, that's the
And
one.
that movie was awful. I
I bet.
watched it. It was so bad. I was like, why? Okay, well, I might try the Reese Witherspoon movie just because I really like her. Although I'm kind of like really out on the outs with Will Ferrell, but what are you gonna do? John, thank you for being here tonight.
Yeah.
It's been really fun talking to you. I don't know if you want to plug your wares. What you got coming up next?
Yes, John Talks too. John Talks Life. I've started putting videos on that channel as well. So that's about it for now.
Nice.
For now.
All the links are in the description, so make sure
Appreciate
you
it.
are subscribed. And Darren's dropping the links as well.
Thank you, Darren.
As for me, you can find me on this channel on Friday for the Good News Show at 2 p.m. Eastern. I also have a new Good News channel where I drop the daily doses of good news. So if you haven't subscribed, go and subscribe there. It's in the pinned comment as well as in the description. So thank you. And thank you again for watching this show tonight. Special thanks to those of you who super chatted, became a member, gifted memberships, all that good stuff. Thank you for supporting the channel. And I will see you guys next time. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Take care. See you.
Bye.